The beginning of the manga introduces us to the main character, Ares. He is a hero, as he calls himself, a brave man who has received the blessing of the goddess. But now he and his friends are preparing for the final battle with Meijin, who will destroy the world. Himself, a brave man who has received the blessing of the goddess. Halfway to the boss, Ares' three companions suddenly refuse to follow him. Ares, not realizing what is happening, asks Martina what she is talking about. The girl replies that Ares has done nothing at all in all this time. She asks if he realizes that. Ares is in shock. He replies that he has no idea what Martina is talking about. So far, he's playing dumb. Martina says that when they fight, Ares hides and does nothing. And when they are resting, he peeks into the bathroom and harasses her. So far, he's playing. Touching Martina's breasts again, Ares asks if he did it, to which Martina gets even more angry. She yells that on top of everything else, he spent all the money they made in the guild alone without it. Martine repeats that she told him not to use the money for gambling money and drinking. Sophia interjects, saying that Ares always rages wherever he goes, and they are once again banned from the stores and guilds. Ares makes excuses, saying it's all because this world is terrible. He yells at Ares quotes that by allowing them, the heroes are running an errand or taking money. It's funny however they think of it. All heroes are going to save the world, and the companions are supposed to serve them for free, so Ares informed them right away. She asks Ares if he remembers the time he helped a village that was overrun by demons. Ares remembers, saying that he definitely helped the villagers. He calls out to the other companions, letting them know that he really did help. Suddenly, Tuka yells that Ares tried to abandon that village, to which he asks if that's cool. The girl pulls out her sword, yelling that it's the duty of heroes to save people without power. She says that if she hadn't spoken out in that village against it, he really would have given up on helping. Tuka asks if Ares thinks it cost him a lot to save someone's life. The girl points her sword directly at the hero, waiting for an answer. Without waiting, Tuka puts the katana away in its scabbard, saying that it can no longer help him. Martin is supported by a girl, and Sophia adds that she can no longer follow him either. He asks his companions to think again, but the girl leaves. Left all alone, Ares begins to laugh. He pulls out his sword, saying he can't help himself, starting right now. Ares walks. Passing into the rift, the hero finds himself in another world, where almost immediately the demon Demiurge appears. A large robot, inside of which sits a girl. She informs that she is the creator. Looking at the hero, the girl says he has the body of a dwarf. She doesn't think he's gotten this far on his own. It's foolish to pass recklessly. Ares screams, demanding an answer as to whether the Demiurge is really trying to destroy humanity. Says he has the body of a dwarf. She doesn't think he's gotten this far on his own. It's foolish to pass. The Demiurge, sensing his power, asks who he is. Ares replies that he is a brave hero, a man who will defeat her and save the world. The Demiurge should remember that. Looking at him suddenly, a magical barrier appears in front of Ares. An old man appears opposite the hero and bids him farewell. The elder replies that there is one way. The hero must overcome this magical barrier and defeat her with his own life. The Demiurge attacks Ares. He thinks that with all his magical power, as a hero, he must defeat her. Demiurge says she hasn't. She asks if the hero wants to defeat her for glory, but he replies that he doesn't need to. Ares begins to conjure, and the Demiurge marvels at this. Ares replies that he's just protecting what he wants to protect. The hero conjures the final self-destruction, which entails an explosion. He remembers Martina, Sophia, and Tuka and thanks them for everything. Martina doesn't look happy. Tuka advises her to calm down because it makes other customers uncomfortable. The girl yells that she knows. Tuka replies. Martina says that Ares, after all, didn't apologize until the very end. Every time she thinks about him, she feels bad. Sophia agrees with her friend and suggests she eat a good meal and forget about it. Martina relents, but suddenly notices a glow from her backpack behind Sophia's back. Sophia pulls an envelope out of her backpack and opens it, revealing a letter of recommendation for Sophia for the position of librarian at the Ichimato Library. Sophia pulls another letter from the envelope and tells them that it is for Martina to be the leader of the Knights. Revealing a letter, Tuka reflects on the letters. Sophia says she was only traveling with Aries for a letter of introduction. Martina says no matter how. Sophia reports that the letters have a real royal seal on them. When she takes the last letter out of the envelope, Sophia informs her that a large sum of money has been credited to Tuca's name, to which she is surprised. The girls don't understand why Aries cares about them so much. Suddenly, Sophia notices that she thinks it's a prank by Aries for which he should be punched. When they arrive at the site of the battle, the girls see only a large explosion crater. Tuca says it's the Demiurge's base in another world, but the dimensional rift leading to it has disappeared. Suddenly, Sophia notices Aries' sword. The girls don't understand what happened, but assume that the hero fought a demon. They believe Tuca hits the rock, saying that when she thinks about it now, Aries has always suddenly changed the people around him. Oni chastises herself for not. Martin falls to the ground. The girl mourns for the dead hero. Today, the threat from the demons is gone. The era of chaos has come to an end and the era of peace has arrived, but people still do not know that. The hero wakes up in a forest clearing completely naked. Looking up at the sky, he believes that this is the afterlife. She reports that Aries is very noisy. The girl turns out to be a demiurge. The hero does not understand what she is doing here. The girl, pondering, says that she is his beloved and that this world is terrible. Aries is shocked by the girl's words. The demiurge further confirms that she is his beloved by calling him her husband. Pondering, Aries tells the girls to wait, for he and she must die in the final battle. The hero is shocked and says that everything is connected. This is the afterlife. But the demiurge replies that at that time, Aries hesitates. At the time, he was sure they were going to die. The hero notices the demiurge's breasts, from which the demiurge replies that the reason he has no clothes is because his self-destruct magic wiped him out. Aries says he only remembers using self-destruct, but what happened after that, he doesn't remember at all. The hero realizes he doesn't remember it at all. First of all, why is he a hero meeting this enemy? But if he says something bad here and pisses her off, he will definitely die. Demiurge's face becomes normal. She informs him that she'll remind him of that someday. The hero doesn't understand. The demiurge replies that he and she are like a married couple and there is only one way out. The girl rolls the guy to the ground, sitting on top of him. Leaning over him, the demiurge proposes to Aries to start a family, from which he comes to a shock. She tells the hero not to worry, because the structure of her body and the human body is not very different. So if they do it, she will also be able to give birth to a child. The girl sits on the guy more comfortably and asks him to make. After sitting on the ground, Aries explains that they just met and can't do that right away after just chatting and getting to know each other. The demiurge, with a serious face, asks what kind of platonic relationship it is and wonders if the hero is a virgin. Aries explains that they just met and can't do that right. She explains that, first of all, enough time has passed. It's been 2 years since they started dating. Aries comes to a shock. He asks the girl again and wonders if that means he's been sleeping the whole time. The girl confirms. She explains that for the past 2 years, she has always been with him. She has been waiting for the moment when he wakes up, dreaming of building a happy family with him, having 3 children. Aries tells the girl not to make decisions alone. The demiurge replies that she has been alone all her life. All this time she has been watching this world alone, and Aries told her to stay with him. Roland was surprised. He didn't think Hikaru would be strong enough to do that. The boy asked Roland if they were accomplices now, but the blonde decided that there was no point in staying in this world anymore. He had nothing more to lose. He thanked the protagonist. Aries says she might not like it, but he thinks that sex implies love for each other, so he can't do it with her yet. He doesn't know if he likes her, not yet. So he asks Demiurge to wait a little longer, because he needs to sort out his feelings. After that, he will give her an answer. Not like it. The girl hugs the guy from behind and apologizes to him, saying that she was a bit hasty, as he just woke up and his memory is fuzzy. The hero again asks the girl to wait a little longer. Aries apologizes and thanks the girl, but she replies that it was an awkward kiss. The guy is shocked, and the girl asks if Aries has any experience with girls. The guy replies that he really hasn't, to which the girl replies that she has no experience either. In the shadow world, The hero asks Demiurge not to talk to him like that if she's exactly the same, but the girl asks if that's healthy. She says he's already awake and she'll soon finish her daily routine. Ares doesn't understand what the girl means. The guy asks the girl to wait and asks if it's a good time for them to change. The Demiurge doesn't understand the guy's words, as they have nothing to worry about since it's just her and him here. Ares yells that he is in trouble. The girl conjures a finger, saying that she conversely doesn't want to wear so much, but luckily she can make clothes with mana. The girl conjures clothes for both of them. Ares is surprised. The girl agrees with what he says and asks if she can ask him a question. She won't wear clothes anymore if her husband compliments her, but Ares asks her to wear clothes every day. The Demiurge tells the boy again to go. They are getting close. World. Along the way, Ares asks if he can ask her a question. First of all, he wonders why he's still alive. The guy thinks the Demiurge is still safe, but the Demiurge screams that it's not. Despite that, she almost died. The guy says that because he died instantly when he used his magic, he doesn't understand how he was able to recover then. The Demiurge lays her hand on Guy's heart and says that she can't raise the dead. Instead, she gave her life to him and now they live one life for two with him, but it's not one body. Because of this, the girl has used up almost all of her mana. She doesn't have the power she used to have. That mana that has recovered a bit is now a mysterious stone. The girl shows Ares it. About him. She explains that it is meant to grow the seed of the world tree. The boy does not understand. The Demiurge replies that the great tree brings mana to this world and sustains it, its seed. In the dreamlessness, the guy sees a battlefield. He thinks it's a dream, but realizes it's actually the past. It is a memory of a decisive battle with the Demiurge. The girl says it's impossible to break her magic. Ares replies that maybe it's because the people they fought before were still too weak. The Demiurge does. The girl realizes that he can get out of the death state by using the final recovery magic, Resurrection. He used it at the same time as the magic of self-destruction. He thinks the skill of his profession is hero, gifted by the goddess, the ability to gain skills from other professions. Evasion with Tuca's mind's eye, Martina's defense reinforcement, and the magic he learned from Sophia. Ares thanks all his girlfriends, thinking he's got. The guy yells to the girl that he's going to kill her and save the world. The Demiurge replies that all the people before him have said exactly the same thing. The guy doesn't understand what the girl means. She replies that people have repeatedly tried to kill her, over and over again. All the many times, the Demiurge points at the guy and yells that they humans are trying to destroy the world. The guy again doesn't understand anything. Ares asks if the girl is bringing destruction and chaos upon the world, to which they have no idea that the magical civilization they created is destroying the world. Ares wonders what the Demiurge is talking about. She replies that they must have heard the name in myths and fairy tales. It is the world tree of Taiju's creation, which angered her. The world tree produces mana and spreads it around the world as it is now. The Demiurge points to the dead tree, saying that humans have overdeveloped because of magical civilization. The girl explains that the world tree came along with the creation of the world, and she has been protecting it here ever since. But now the tree is dying because of people's selfishness. That's why she decided to exterminate them all. By doing so, Ares doesn't understand if the Demiurge is really trying to protect the world. He came here to save the world. But if he defeats her, he will destroy it on the contrary. The guy wonders if the girl cares if the current life will die. The Demiurge replies that humans will eventually disappear without her help, sucking the mana of the world tree with their own egos. But involving the whole world is unacceptable. Guy doesn't know what to. He doesn't know if he believes what she's saying. There is no reason to lie to agonize over this situation. Ares doesn't realize if this is the right way to save the world, if he will be killed by her here and all other people will be destroyed. The guy remembers all his. Ares screams that the Demiurge can't do that. He runs closer, grabs the girl's hand, and begins to conjure. The Demiurge is puzzled. Ares replies that at this distance, the magical barrier. Guy replies that he is not big enough to see the world on the scale she does. However, just as she wants to protect the world, he has something he wants to protect. Guy uses self-destruct magic and there is an... Ares wakes up. The demiurge leans over him. She wonders if he's okay. The boy answers positively. She explains that when they came to the tree, he suddenly collapsed. She was afraid. Demiurge pouts and hugs the guy's arm. She asks the guy to let her worry. That will be her punishment. She wants to be with him a little longer. The guy's hand grazes the girl's breast, which makes the guy embarrassed. Ares wonders again if this child in front of him is really the demiurge. The girl says she is warm and she doesn't like anyone else. That's the main thing that helped her remember the warmth in people, so she takes responsibility. The guy agrees. Ares remembers the story and asks for a sequel. The demiurge answers that this is the seed of the single world tree, showing it to him. He asks if the world tree is dying, to which the girl replies in the negative. However, this was a rough estimate based on the assumption that magical civilization would continue to develop as it was now. It was just when she experienced her husband's first and second self-destruction magic. More adventurers like her, she would really love her job. The vast amount of mana overflowing her body, the dying world tree bathed in that mana, squeezing out the remaining life force to produce one seed, the only seed. The demiurge decided to grow this seed to avoid the destruction of the world. To choose. She turns to Ares and says she has a request for her husband. It turns out that if he has a lot of mana in the world tree, he can leave seeds like this, then grow a large tree from that seed. If Ares repeats if you don't have enough mana that sustains life in the world to increase its supply. The demiurge called it a plan to increase the production of the world tree. To do this, you need to grow that seed. So the demiurge wants her husband to gather mana in order to grow this seed with her. The girl lays her hand on the guy, saying she wants the guy to protect this world. Ares readily agrees. He says that if it's something, the girl rejoices, saying that the guy answered such an important question immediately, as she expected from her husband. The hero is really the man she has been waiting for all this time. Ares agrees with the girl. She offers to join forces and make it as tough as possible, but the hero yells at her that she doesn't need to say such things. The hero remarks that they are in a hurry, as he is urgently going to gather mana. Ari's stomach suddenly rumbles and remembered the Duke. An awkward silence begins between the pair. The demiurge relents at this, saying that it reminds her of the fact that people can't live without eating something. The guy apologizes. She walks over to the tree and plucks an apple, saying this Ares must like this fruit because it's delicious. The guy uses his analyzing ability and realizes it's a sacred fruit. Suddenly met two patrolmen. The holy fruit can be kept for a long time, even being plucked from the tree, and when it is bitten off a little, the physical strength will be fully restored. Also, it has the effect of detoxifying poison. Life all his life. Antagonist. It also has the effect of temporarily strengthening physical skills and gaining the sacred attribute from which it is named. Ares says that in the human world, rare items like this one sell for a high price. The guy. The demiurge wonders if Ares is going to eat this apple. The hero takes a bite of the fruit and says it's delicious. The demiurge informs her that she's glad Ares liked it, so she'll take one too. Of colors pressed into them. Ares asks if the girl is going to eat one fruit too, but she replies that she doesn't need to eat, she just wants to try it. Doing things like that is the only entertainment they can get. But the girl wants a new pleasure, and this allows her to seduce her husband. The demiurge embraces Ares, but the guy gets scared and pushes her away, talking about the plan to increase the production of the world tree. The old man replied that he was just an appraiser. He asks the girl how they collect mana on the ground, to which she replies that it's pretty simple. They just have to collect anima that falls out of monsters. Ares replies that he hasn't seen anything like this before. The demiurge replies that the anima is the soul of the monster, and even if a person defeats the monster, they just return to Earth. Since Ares shared his life with her, the god of creation, they can crystallize. Ares concludes that he just has to defeat the monsters. But the demiurge replies that the truth is that she would like to fight alongside him. But now that she has lost her power, she is no different from a human soul. The guy realizes that it's all because of the battle with him. The girl asks him not to make a sad face. They both fought for something they couldn't give up, and as a result, Ares defeated her. But it gave her the opportunity to create a new world. Being chased. Ares replies that he will try for her too then. The girl marvels at the guy's spirit. He suggests that the monsters are probably outside the forest, for the forest is covered with barriers. The demiurge agrees with. The guy turns around and asks the demiurge why she is following him. She is surprised, but the hero asks if she thinks it would be dangerous. Demiurge asks him not to worry. She will run away immediately if something bad happens. Because it wasn't supposed to be like that. Moreover, she wants to see her husband fight bravely, and she will try not to disturb him. Ares asks again if the girl is sure that she will run away if something bad happens, to which she agrees. The hero thinks he should look around the neighborhood with his hunter ability and look for enemies. The demiurge reads Ari's mind and tells him that this is the hero's ability and it's very cool. The guy tells himself he scans the area and finds 6 green slugs. Ares asks Demiurge not to leave the place. She wishes him luck. He raises his hand and sees that he has no weapons with him, but it doesn't matter. An unarmed Ares jumps on the slugs, defeating them one by one. He tells the girl that it's done. The demiurge replies that it was very cool. She finds it hard to believe it's been 2 years. The girl says he's her husband, so it would be okay if he hugged her. Ares lets those words pass his ears. The girl picks up the anima and says that it has already crystallized. Ares sees the crystallized anima for the first time. Ares informs them that they must now give this crystal to the seed of the world tree, to which the demiurge again agrees. But suddenly, embarrassed, she asks her husband to looking at his arm. Ares is horrified. Slime has damaged the sleeve of his robes. The demiurge says that the main food for slime is mana itself, so mana clothing is. Ares says the slime is sticky and disgusting. The demiurge asks the guy to leave the world tree on her and asks Ares to go bathing in the spring. The hero contemplates what is happening. A lot has happened to him since he woke up. For some reason, he proposed to the man who tried to kill him, but he didn't realize that from the back, a naked demiurge suddenly approaches, asking what her husband is thinking. Ares is startled, asking what she is doing here. The girl replies that they agreed to meet at the spring. Pressing her breasts against the guy, the girl tells him that he did a good job today, so she asks him to let her wash every corner of his body. She whispers in his ear, touching the intimate parts of his body. Here, one of the strongest heroines in the game. Rollman's conversation. The demiurge adds that the slime will harden over time and become difficult to wash off. She asks if she can help him wash it off. Ares agrees with her, but warns her that his little buddy might get up. The pair are washed up in a spring. They begin a life together to save the world, with him as the hero and his old enemy, the demiurge. The action shifts a bit forward. The couple is sitting inside a large. Ares informs him that he is thinking of leaving the forest for a while from today. The demiurge doesn't understand what the man means. For a mana crystal anima, the amount that can be mined in this forest is small. Person would be decided within 3 days. Simply put, it's ineffective. Suddenly, Ares senses something. The girl asks what's wrong with the guy, but is also horrified. Ares asks if the girl noticed the same thing he noticed. Looking up at the sky, the demiurge shouts that the magical barrier is breaking down. Ares realizes. Demiurge screams that it is a phoenix, the first of 4 demons she once created to destroy humans. Demiurge created the dragon god, Titan, and Behemoth to destroy humans and save the world. His comrade reassures him. Both figures walk away down the corridor. The girl says it's one of the 4 most powerful demons, but Ares has only heard their names before. They are all considered first-class monsters among humans. The girl says that this forest was protected by guards. A powerful defense created by the elves who once lived here prevented the demons from getting in. The girl doesn't realize how easy it was to break that barrier. It seems that the demons are still very strong. But he hadn't met any such skills yet. Ares feels the pressure just by facing him, as he is one of the 4 strongest demons. The hero asks the girl if she can order her demons not to attack them, but she replies that it won't work. Door. Like all demons, these 4 powerful demons have no intelligence. He will do what she ordered, which is to destroy the human race. Suddenly, Phoenix begins to tell the girl that too much time has passed. 16 years. Phoenix reports that it has been many years since she left the Demiurge. Before she realized it, she had feelings, developed intelligence, and that's not all. Phoenix begins to fall. There's a flash and the Phoenix turns into a girl. Facts. She reports, now she can do these things. Ares turns away from the naked girl. Phoenix says she tried her best to look like the Demiurge. The girl replies that she will have to dress up since she wants. Ares asks the girls to leave him out of it, but the girls don't understand. Demiurge says Ares has a cute reaction as always. The girl tells Phoenix that she will make clothes for her. Ares thinks he is now saved, as expected. Nudity in this appearance is ruled out. Demiurge asks what happened to Phoenix, since she looks different. Phoenix replies that she is just enjoying the moment, having received the clothes. The girl says that the Phoenix has never returned to her since she was created and asks why she came here now. The Phoenix replies that she was on a mission given to her by the Demiurge to avoid unnecessary battles, since it's the basics. She decided she would not return to her until the day the human race was exterminated. But one day, the Demiurge's presence suddenly vanished. Ares realizes that it disappeared when he used the magic of self-destruction. And from this, it became known that another lady was in love with the same guard. The Demiurge apologizes to Phoenix for making her worry so much. The girl replies that it's okay now, since she knows the mistress is safe. She points her finger at him and asks the Demiurge where the man came from. The girl hugs the guy and explains that Ares is now her husband. The guy is embarrassed. He says that this is not a good time to mention. Phoenix does not understand her mistress's wishes. The Demiurge says she thinks she should tell her what has happened up to this time. The Trinity sits down near a tree. The Demiurge begins to tell the Phoenix everything that has happened to her. Phoenix realizes that Ares is a lowlife who has hurt the Demiurge. The girl replies that the guy weakened her, but he's not a bad person, although sometimes he forgets to look after her. Ares thinks he can't argue with them. Phoenix stands up and says she understood. Her powers are already fading. When she was born, the Demiurge gave her mana, and she will give it all to the World Tree. The girl yells to Phoenix that if she does this, she will die. Phoenix replies that it's okay. He didn't believe it, but he realized that he would have to. For the sake of the world and for the Demiurge, she will gladly sacrifice this life. Ares is surprised by such devotion. Suddenly, Phoenix turns to him. The guy makes a fool of himself, which angers the girl. It was dense miasmas, and they all came from his house. Phoenix screams that she doesn't accept him as her Demiurge husband, and before she disappears, she will incinerate him to the ground. Phoenix begins to conjure. She rises above the guy. Phoenix shouts to Ares to get ready. She will incinerate him in an instant with her flames. The hero marvels at the girl's firepower. Suddenly, the Demiurge yells for the Phoenix to stop. The Demiurge says that this forest is a shrine to protect the World Tree, and the Phoenix tried to burn the entire World Tree in his own shrine. The girl is frightened. She replies that she didn't mean to do that. So, but it didn't matter to the girl as it caused danger to the city anyway. She was just trying to get rid of the bastard Ares. Demiurge gets even angrier and asks who the Phoenix thinks she is. Even though she's Demiurge's own flesh and blood, it's insulting to call her husband scum. Phoenix screams that humans are selfish and an inferior species. They are fools who are destroying the world and don't even realize it. The girl says that the Demiurge herself taught her that. But she realized that some people are straightforward in their beliefs. In order to protect what he held dear, Ares had challenged her alone and was willing to sacrifice his life. And now he had promised her to protect the World Tree together. She was grounded most of the time. Ares thinks he can't believe that the Demiurge has so much faith in him. Phoenix says she doesn't care. The Demiurge agrees with her and asks Ares if he could have a duel with the Phoenix, which surprises the guy. The girl explains that the Phoenix says and does this because she is worried about her, so she can't be harsh. He was shocked, so she is forced to ask her husband to show her the power. Ares says that he knew that words alone would not solve this problem. Phoenix suggests the guy to go somewhere else. Otherwise, this forest will burn down and Trinity moves into the rocks. Phoenix says that at this distance from the forest, she will be able to dispose of her power as she sees fit. She asks the Demiurge if she would mind if she destroyed it. Asked the girl who accused her of killing the Count. The demiurge replies that her husband is much stronger than her. This angers the girl. She doesn't believe that Ares is stronger than her. The guy yells for the girl not to provoke Phoenix. Phoenix says that she is proud to be one of the 4 demons until she dies and becomes an assassin. However, this could tarnish the history of the state, so the information about her will be classified. Phoenix begins to conjure volcanic spears. Ares responds by conjuring a water shield, invoking the spirits of water. Phoenix remarks that blocking her spears is pretty impressive for a normal person. She had already accepted it. Suddenly, Ares jumps out of the smoke and punches the Phoenix in the stomach, causing it to fall. He looks at his hand and says that its small size makes it difficult to aim. The blow makes the Phoenix furious. The guards would be here soon. Phoenix rises up. She says that even though Ares is just a simple man, she will use all her power and will no longer hold back. Phoenix rises high above Ares and begins to conjure. And Menos, who was now Mati, noticed this. With this magic, she is going to put an end to everything at once. The hero is terrified. Phoenix is going to tear the place apart. Ares thinks she's so bloodthirsty she doesn't realize what she's doing. If this magic works, even the demiurge will get hit. Yelling at him, the Phoenix screams that it will vaporize Ares's foul soul and conjures a solar blast. Ares realizes that with that much power, the Phoenix will vaporize too. He could take the demiurge and get out of here, but that's not right. Without killing anyone, the demiurge created them, and the Phoenix is like family to her. If it works out, he wants to protect her too. Suddenly, the demiurge yells that since he shares her life with her, he can use some of her powers too. Ares has an epiphany. He recalls the demiurge telling him that even she could not perform a miracle and raise the dead. Instead, she would have to give part of her life to her husband. Ares feels that he is now one with the demiurge. The power that the demiurge once possessed, even if it is only a fraction of it. Ares conjures and unleashes the Deus machine into battle. Phoenix is terrified that the guy is capable of such a thing. Ares orders the machine to carry the solar ball away. About the events to come, he himself shields the Phoenix from the machine. The demiurge says she expected him to be able to summon the Deus machine, albeit in an imperfect form. Ares orders the machine to take the thing away from here and set up a protective barrier. Phoenix is surprised. She calls out to Ares and asks how he even managed to use the magic barrier. The girl screams, for which the guy hits her on the head. Phoenix doesn't understand what's gotten into the guy. If the guild specifically chose such beautiful receptionists for the survival rate of the participants. Ares shouts for the Phoenix to look at the outrage her magic had created. If that magic had hit its target, the demiurge would have been at the epicenter of the explosion. Demiurge remarks that the Phoenix herself would have been destroyed as well. The new girl came up to the guy and offered to help him select the tasks. Phoenix is startled. Ares wonders if this girl really only realized it now. He'd hate to say it, but the Phoenix really is a fool. The girl falls to the floor in front of Ares and she jumps up and puts a knife to her throat, saying she will pay for her sins with her own life. She asks the demiurge to give her mana to the world tree. The demiurge shouts for the girl to take her time. She asks her to help her if she is sorry. She says that if the Phoenix is here, the world tree will be better protected. Just like that, they meet for the first time in thousands of years. They have progressed to the point where they can exchange. The demiurge asks if it wouldn't be sad to say goodbye now, which makes the girl start to cry. The mistress asks her not to cry so much. Suddenly, she turns around and addresses Ares, saying that she apologizes and she knows Demiurge loves him. Start today, but she wonders how Ares himself feels about the demiurge and demands a decision. The boy replies that he doesn't know. Phoenix gets angry, saying that he pisses her off and he seems too pathetic for a man. Phoenix thinks the same thing. Ares says he still doesn't know how he feels about her. He can't just accept someone's love until he knows exactly how he feels about that person. Love is mutual feelings. Only when their feelings overlap can true love occur. Phoenix starts laughing, saying that Ares is a virgin. She didn't expect that answer. Demiurge yells that it doesn't matter if her husband is a virgin. Ares says he's trying to be serious. Phoenix replies that she knows how lofty a virgin's idea of love is. Phoenix asks the guy how long it will take to get an answer. Aries replies that about 6 months. Phoenix yells that's too long and the guy is either an idiot or just a virgin. In the city, he was training. She yells that he has a week to make a decision, but that seems like too short a time frame to the guy. He needs at least 3 months. The guy doesn't like it even more, and Phoenix says the guy has 1 month. That's the biggest concession she'll make. Since Aries is a man, he has a month to make up his mind. Aries thinks he's embarrassed to keep Demiurge waiting from the Force. To notice the Japanese. He agrees, saying he'll give the Demiurge an answer in a month. Phoenix says all the guy needs is to understand, and if he's even 1 day late, she'll vaporize him completely this time, so he better be ready. And the guy heard a familiar name. The boy is surprised that the Phoenix called him by his name, but she replies that it is easier than calling him just a human. The action moves to the capital of the kingdom. A servant tells Martine that she has a guest. Martine is standing near a window. Martine asks the servants who it is, but Tuca is already at the door. She is surprised that Martine is now captain of the knights. Martine remarks that they have not seen each other for a long time, calling Tuca princess. But she replies that she is not the right person to be called such. 2 years have passed. Tuca wonders if she still remembers Aries, to which she replies positively. He was a very arrogant man in the guilds. He seemed to have no motivation at all to kill demons or help people. Got even angrier, saying that both were to blame. There was a moment of silence. The worst of the scum heroes. That's what the world thinks of him. But his companions are the only ones who really knew him. He single-handedly defeated the strongest demiurge demon at the cost of his own life. They quickly left the room, as suddenly the main character appears. Martina wonders why Tuca came to see her today, since she didn't do all this way to talk about old times. Tuca says that the dragon god and the hippopotamus were spotted in Kamui's camp. Tuca adds that the demons traveled to the western part of Kamui, disappearing in the vicinity of Lineguard. Martina adds that one of the other strongest Titan demons was also spotted in this country. Tuca is surprised that demons not seen in decades are gathering in one place. Martina yells that they need to hurry. She tells the maid that she has urgent business. She needs her to go and check out the situation in one region. And that the boy was a messenger from there. The man started to ask how the boy got here, but Hikaru beat him to it. This place is somewhere in Larengard County, so it's the town of Sid. The action shifts back to the trio. Aries tells the demiurge that this is not a good idea, but she doesn't know what he's talking about. I answered bluntly that he didn't make a deal with anyone. He just walked in here. The man got up from the table and started shouting at the Japanese man not to lie to him. Guy explains that the weak demons near the Elven Forest are ineffective for collecting anima, but the demiurge asks if it wasn't her husband who suggested going to the city. Eris confirms this, but asks why she decided to. Past them. The man assumed that if they had seen him, the guild guy would have been stopped even earlier, on the steps. The demiurge explains that there must be a lot of people in a city like this. She'll make sure he isn't distracted by other women. Aries cries out that this isn't a very good reason. The demiurge tells Aries not to worry, because she's a creator god, and it's no problem for her to blend into human society. But the guy thinks she stayed naked until he told her about it. The girl asks if the guy is okay. Upon arriving in the city, Aries thinks he's never been to one, so he doesn't think they'll run into anyone he knows. He calls out to Demiurge and says that while they are in town, he will be Alexei and Demiurge. Aries is about to speak to the soldier at the gate, but Demiurge must not say a word. He addresses her as Demiurge, but she forgets her name. Aries worries if they are really going to be okay. We're bad. Not steal from the common people, even though they were perceived as common thieves. The guard stops the couple at the gate, asking for their papers. Aries apologizes and says they don't have IDs, and asks if they can go inside without them. The guard says it's okay as long as he knows what they're here for. To resist it all. However, they are not allowed to bring weapons through, so he asks them to leave them here. Aries says that he is now broke, and has come to the city to make money here by selling goods. The guard checks the backpack and sees fur skins and medicinal herbs in it. He was worth keeping an eye on. He asks Aries if he has anything else, to which he replies in the negative. Then the guard asks Aries about the young lady. He replies that she is his companion and has no belongings with her. contacted to go rescue the Japanese man so that he would remain in her debt. The man replies that since they don't have any weapons he can see, it's okay and lets them pass. The couple enters the city. The demiurge tells Ares that she fits in perfectly with the human race. Already filled out form on the table. The boy thought for a moment that there was no way a soldier from such a small town would know what the demiurge looked like. Suddenly, the guard called out to the couple and asked them to wait, which startled them, especially, but the guard merely hands the couple a handful of coins, explaining that even if they wanted to sell something, the stores would already be closed. He asks them to take the money and spend the night at a hotel. The couple thanks the guard. The guard replies that he doesn't care about Ares, but he can't bear the thought of such a young lady staying in the slums. The man says that the couple will have to pay them back twice as much. Ares tells Demiurge that it scared him. The TA replies that the guy just worries too much. If he keeps this up, he'll go bald. But even if he does, she'll love him. The couple is followed by The action carries forward. The saleswoman informs the couple that the appraisal is complete and gives them several bags of coins, telling them that this is the approximate amount of the appraisal. Ares is pleased with this amount. Explains that the guild card works just like a bank. The vendor says that the rabbit pelts and essential leaves they obtained were of excellent quality. She was extremely surprised when she saw the sacred fruit. She asks the couple to come to their guild if they have any business questions. The salesgirl snuggles up to Ares, which angers the demiurge. Walking down the street, Ares says he really didn't expect them to make 1.5 million gold at once. The medicinal herbs in the elven forest are amazing. He would be hunting here to increase his level. He thinks the most amazing thing is the sacred fruit. He has a few in his stash, but their value on the market is close to 1 million. Ares doesn't want to make too much, so he doesn't stand out. The demiurge is silent. Ares notices the girl's slumped form and tries to find out what's wrong. The demiurge shouts that the young guild secretary was hitting on her husband, and if Ares hadn't told her not to make a big deal. Ares thinks it wasn't that bad, but demiurge screams that her husband is her husband. He flirted with them right under her nose, but Ares says he didn't do it. He guessed this would happen to demiurge. About the goblins, the girl sulks. Ares thinks she is very jealous and he will have to be more careful with women from now on. At any rate, he'll have to cheer her up. The couple approaches the bulletin board on which Ares notices something. Ares tells Demiurge that there are a number of stores on this street, and now that they have money, they can go shopping. But Demiurge asks if the guy really thinks he can cheer her up with that. Of it. After all, the guy is still going shopping for gear and other boring stuff. Ares replies that it's part of the job and he wants to buy food, and he also wants to buy some furniture since he can transport it in his spatial storage. I told the old man that he understood. Demiurge rejoices, thinking that by bed, Ares means bed. Last night was the first time she slept on a bed and it was awesome. She thinks people can do good things too. She yells out to Ares, offering to buy one bed. And left. Suddenly, the couple hears the strange girl in the back. She tells Ares that even though she was so close, he only noticed her when she called out to him. The demiurge, feeling all the mana from the girl, realizes it's a titan. Be a lot of monsters here. The titan notices that demiurge has grown weaker, addressing her as a sister. Ares has demiurge's back, but the titan tells him not to be so careful, since she's not trying to pick a fight with him right here and now. The demiurge says that she didn't realize that she too was capable of mimicking humans. The titan replies that this form is the safest way to travel in human society. Demiurge asks what the titan needs, and she replies that she has a favor to ask. He stepped out from behind the bushes and headed towards the predator. He says that the couple has the world tree seed and asks them to give it to her. Ares doesn't understand how the Titan knows about the world tree seed. The demiurge says that she, Ares, and the phoenix are the only ones who should know about it. The Titan realizes she's too late and says it's because she went to the world tree of the previous generation. The demiurge explains to Ares that this is the other dimension where she and he fought 2 years ago. The quality of the grass was very high this year. Everything, even killing. As he continued to ponder, the guy remembered yesterday's situation when he wanted to kill 2 innocent men. The Titan confirms and says that the entrance was blocked due to the aftermath of their battle. The Demiurge doesn't understand why the Titan would force open the entrance. Titan says she went to such crazy lengths to replenish her supply. Ares asks the Titan if they have seen the Phoenix, and the Titan replies that she is exactly like the Phoenix. Her body is depleted of mana, so she borrowed mana directly from the previous world tree. The Japanese decided to continue in the same spirit. Soon the guy was sitting in a tree and was already at the 8th level. He realized that at this rate he would soon get to the 10th and then to the 20th level. The Demiurge asks if the Titan has damaged the world tree. She answers in the affirmative. The girl cries out that if she damages this weak tree, it will wither and die. Titan says that's what happened when she heard about the seeds from the world tree itself. The couple doesn't understand what the demon is talking about. Titan explains that she only damaged it a bit to replenish it, and then it burst out to escape. There's a lot more mana in her seed than in her dying body, or something like that. Shouldn't have come here. There were too many goblins. The girl knew right away that something wrong was waiting for them when her friend agreed to go with unknown people to pick flowers in the forest for a fee. The girl tried to dissuade her friend, whose name was Pia. However, Pia reminded the other one what they had become adventurers for in the first place. The girl replied that it was to help poor villages with money. The world tree is a living creature like any other. It sells its own child, selfishly begging for mercy. She still laughs when she thinks about it. The Titan's words make the Demiurge furious and she runs. The Titan stops her with one hand and asks if she has realized why she needs the seeds. Demiurge realizes that the Titan intends to take the seeds to gain even more power. Titan says that Demiurge knows. Ares says that if the world tree disappears, everything will die. Titan replies that she has thought about that too. The people, animals, and demons living in this world will just return to Earth. And then she will create. Titan intends to become the new creator god. Ares thinks this girl is completely insane. Titan asks Ares to tell her where the seeds are. She threatens the Demiurge that the Demiurge wonders why the Titan is eager to gain immense power. They wonder if she needs the whole world. Titan replies that she only needs such a huge power because it looks like fun. Empire due to the fact that trade and alliance treaties. Suddenly, Ares attacks Titan and meets her gaze. He manages to snatch the Demiurge from Titan's grasp. He asks if the girl is all right, to which she replies positively. Titan realizes that the couple will not give away the location. She yells that maybe it would be better to ask her body. The couple freaks out, realizing that they can't stay here. Ares grabs Demiurge by the arm, telling her that they need to get out of the city soon. The couple runs towards the gate. The man quickly approached the restorer. He asked her if she knew the main goal of the goblins. She answered in the negative. He replied that goblins attack humans for offspring. The guard notices Ares and Demiurge running straight at him. They run past the incomprehensible guard. The Titan yells that she can't believe they escaped the city. The couple stops and Titan transforms into a huge giant, saying that this is her true form. She tells the couple to bow down in fear. Ares tells the Demiurge that this is already really bad. Perfect. As this area was guarded by Primo, Miko planned to help the people of the city. Ares summons the Deus machine again. The machine appears. Ares asks the machine to take the uncomprehending Demiurge and head for the Phoenix. The Deus machine obeys and takes the Demiurge in its hand. Ares replies that he shares this life with her and asks her not to worry. He's going to take care of this big scum right here, so he's not going to die alone. The Demiurge yells that Ares must destroy the Titan's growing ambition. She asks him to return in one piece. The Deus machine leaves with the Demiurge. Ares summons an ice wave, attacking Titan. It doesn't hurt Titan, which asks what he's up to, wondering if he's decided to run away. Haru. He was reaching out to her, asking if she could get up. Ares replies that he's actually going to beat the crap out of her. Titan gets angry, saying that Ares doesn't dare cross her and calls for a stone blast. Ares conjures up a magic. The Titan does not know how he can use the power of the Demiurge. She attacks Ares again. The hero conjures a fireball, attacking the Titaness again. Titan is angry, saying it's just one insignificant attack after another. The Titan attacks Ares, but he jumps on her arm and kicks her in the face. The demon is even angrier. She doesn't understand how a creature that looks like a human dares to touch her. She screams that she won't forgive him, saying that there was nothing wrong with it. Suddenly, Ares feels some sort of vibration and stone golems rise from the ground. The Titan orders them into action. Ares counts and realizes that there are about 30 of them. The hero quickly massacres them in the conversation, saying that soon all the goblins will run away. He says that the Titan isn't that smart if she thinks she can defeat him. Suddenly, all the golems regenerate, which makes Ares startled. The demon says that as long as she supplies them with mana, they will absorb the soil and Meanwhile, the demiurge rushes to Phoenix. She thinks that all she needs is to believe in her husband's victory. Then she will believe and wait for him. Ares fights the golems again. The Titan says he can't. Ares looks at the ground. He sees the lines on it and thinks he has found the perfect solution. He flies up to the top. The demon asks what he's doing, to which he says she's still being herself. She's not very smart. No one else would get hurt. Ares asks her to look under her feet. The demon sees the lines and gets scared. It is a magical circle. Ares explains that it is a sacred space where even time freezes. He conjures an infinite ice world and all the golems. The demon asks if this is what Ares was running away from the city for. He replies that she is just a fool with powers. He was able to prepare the magic circle without any problems, because a demon cannot create or repair golems in this icy terrain. After hearing the answer, she asked Hikaru for a favor. She asked the hero to guide them, because there are still a lot of monsters at the lake. The Titan replies that golems aren't the only demons she can create. Ares doesn't stand a chance. The hero says that the Titan has lost. The space where the null field activates is filled with mana that can freeze any living thing. And he can't protect all 3 of them at once. The Titan begins to freeze. Ares says that even though her body is immune to magic, apparently she was unable to prevent mana from entering her body. Ares yells that it's over and attacks the icy demoness. He was satisfied and glad that he had gathered information in advance on how to get rid of goblins. Suddenly, he heard strange sounds again. He wondered what was there. The demon goes down. Ares says it's a huge, overgrown giant's nose and he's going to break it for her. Ares returns to the elven forest to Demiurge and the Phoenix. Phoenix and Demiurge rejoice at the arrival of Ares. Greeted him, all the goblins would scatter. The Demiurge immediately climbs in, asking Ares if he's hurt. But the guy tells her to calm down. The girl says she's really happy that Ares is okay. The hero is confused by these words. Phoenix says she will take care of the Titan, to which the Demiurge agrees. She says she can't believe that Ares not only defeated the Titan, but brought her right to them. Ares replies that he promised. Phoenix says it's a good job, and she's grown to respect him a little more. Suddenly, Demiurge calls Ares to a body of water because she had told him before that they should clean up. The couple walks to the body of water. Ares thinks this isn't the first time they've bathed together, but he's still a little shy. He's about to take a quick swim, but the Demiurge suddenly hugs the guy. He asks her to step back a bit, to which she says it's punishment for him making her worry. Until today, she has never felt such fear in her entire life. The Demiurge says her husband could die. Even when she thought she could lose her life, she has never been so worried. But in this agonizing battle for her husband's life, the Demiurge says that perhaps Ares wouldn't have been seriously injured, even if she hadn't been there. Ares thinks he promised to give his answer in exactly a month, but he's ready to give it now. Ares says that he likes being with her. When she told him that she liked him, inside himself he was very happy. Myths. That they explained the situation to the guild, but they need to give more information about the opponents. The guy thought about this as Freya suddenly approached them. His feelings are still a little fuzzy. Let them be vague, but from now on, he will always be by her side. He will spend eternity with her and fall in love with her for real. He swears he'll make the Demiurge so happy that she'll laugh heartily. Forgot about their date. Even if they die with her in this world and part ways, he will be reborn in the new world and will surely track her down and stay with her forever. He suggests that the girl always work together to. Ares says he is ready and offers Demiurge to be his wife. The girl starts crying and knocks the guy down, saying she can't hold back any longer. She takes the guy's hand and puts it to her chest, asking if he can feel her heart. Going to pay for them. The demiurge says that Ares is to blame for her heartbeat. The couple kiss and then make love. In the morning, Ares wakes up and is kissed on the cheek by Demiurge, wishing him good morning. The guy wishes good morning in return. Asked if it would be okay if the girl left the guild open. While getting dressed, Ares asks the girl how things are going with the Titan. The demiurge says that right now she is still under the care of the Phoenix. She has gone too far and surely deserves to die. God. His case. But Demiurge has always been lenient with her people. Contrary to her perceptions, it's hard for her to judge them so harshly, even someone like her. Ares puts a hand on Demiurge. For him, this is characteristic of all living things. The demiurge says that the Titan is dangerous. She can go in search of the world tree or the seed again at any time. Ares asks if the demiurge is going to kill the Titan. Interested in the insides of the rabbit, as they were usually thrown away, and asked Hikaru to bring them, as he wanted to look at them. The demiurge replies that she will beat each of them with everything she has. If they step out of line, she will stop them as many times as it takes. Ares says she shouldn't. The demiurge smiles, saying that she didn't make a mistake in choosing a husband. She is no longer alone. Suddenly, the girl says that she has a request for the guy. Ares is interested, but the girl Ares is terrified, for he has never done this before. The demiurge says she will make sure the Titan never does that. She will re-educate her and make her work hard for the tree. She will make her The action moves to the site of the battle between Ares and the Titan. The servant asks Sophia what this place is. Sophia replies that it's because of the zero field. The servants don't understand what Sophia is talking about. The girl replies that it is mainly used to stop large-scale human invasions. Any creature caught in this space will be frozen unconditionally. The servants don't understand who is capable of such a thing. Sophia says that this is a very large-scale installation magic. Usually takes more than one person to prepare. Sophia can't accept that and leave it at that. The maid asks if the girl will go alone. Without the book, she can accompany her, but Sophia replies that it would be better if only she goes. She explains that the servants are not bothering her. It's just very powerful magic. Leia replies that it's okay. She knows very well that Sophia is a kind person. She wanted to thank him and asked how she could do so. The maid says she will continue to investigate the town of Sid. Sophia replies that she's counting on her. Sophia conjures a Nice cube in which she can move quietly in the null field. She walks among the frozen golems. It was the same for Freya. He asked her not to tell anyone about this case, because he just saved the girls and that's all. She had heard about the 3 strongest demons, so she went along with the advanced search team. It is the right decision for her. Sophia, touching the traces of the circle, doesn't understand. Touching the mana from the circle, she feels Ares' energy. Sophia realizes that the hero is alive and begins to cry. Ares comes to the bound Titan replies that if he's going to kill her, let him do it quickly. Ares says that Demiurge asked him to punish the demon for her antics, to which she is surprised. Ares says that Demiurge never wanted to punish her too harshly. Tuition, and confirmed it. No matter how long they have lived apart, Titan is like a sister to her. The demon screams that it's disgusting, asking what will bow down to her sister. Ares says she's like a parent to her, to which she did what she wanted and the demiurge became so pathetic, like a human. The Titan is not going to bow down to the weak. Ares turns away and walks out, saying he understood the demon's position. Not waiting for an answer, she explained that there were 50 times more people in the city than here. Ares realizes that words alone won't do the trick, but he doesn't like the thought of violence. Ares meets the Phoenix, who says she thought he was torturing the Titan. Ares replies the hero asks Phoenix not to use the word torment, he just wants the Titan to feel guilty. Phoenix notices something in Arya's hands and wonders what it is. Ares replies that it is his homemade whip. But there are only 10 such girls? These mage girls will be very strong. Suddenly, Ares asks Phoenix to help him test how effective the whip is. Phoenix is afraid, asking if Ares is going to test it on her, but the hero replies in the negative. He's not going to test it on someone else's body. In tranquility. Rest. Phoenix will have to whip Ares. Phoenix takes a whip and stabs Ares, which hurts him. The girl says it looked pretty spectacular, but Ares replies that it actually hurts a bit. The antagonist approached the wall, used the detection skill. Ares says that this will cause a lot of trouble for the Titan, and tomorrow they will begin the real punishment. Night falls. Demiurge and Ares are lying in bed. The Phoenix enters the sleeping couple and takes a whip from the nightstand. Phoenix doesn't realize what the whip is. She felt strange when she picked it up. It is covered in special mana, making it much weaker. Phoenix thinks Ares is being too kind. She walks out of... Titan has done something unforgivable to the Demiurge, and if they're going to punish her, they need to do it properly. Phoenix does something with the whip that makes it glow. Wrong. And he would be glad if they were accompanied, because they would be easy to deal with. The next day, Ares comes to the demon and asks if she has considered her actions. The Titan replies that he will not bow at her feet for such nonsense. Ares replies that the demon has a real flower garden. Ares says they will continue until she surrenders. The hero strikes the demon with his whip, which hurts her badly. The Titan thinks Ares is hitting her with such nonchalance, but she will not tolerate humiliation from humans. They would be able to fight it off. Ares thinks that this is one of the strongest demons, so a reduced strength whip will not be powerful enough. Time passes and Ares informs her that that's enough for today. Titan replies that she didn't feel a thing without their help. But Ares applies beneficial healing to the demon. She doesn't understand what the hero is doing, but he tells her to figure it out for herself. He thinks that the Phoenix will reprimand him for such mercy, but 5 days pass. Ares is still torturing the Titan, telling her to bow her head to the Demiurge, but the exhausted demon replies with a smile on her face that she refuses. Ares doesn't understand what makes that smile on her face. He would all defend the... He thinks the demon is making a fool of him, since he's putting a lot of effort into this without resting. The hero hits the Titan again. The demon thinks it has never felt pain until now. So deep inside, she was horrified by this punishment, making her feel pain for the first time. It was the most disgusting feeling for her, and she wanted to die and calm down. Demonstration of communication between demons. This man is the captain of the Knights Academy, but Ares suddenly used a recovery spell on her. The irritation disappeared from her body like a passing wave. But when the dawn comes, the punishment is even harsher than the day before. The street and realized that he was lucky, because there would be only 3 escorts. The demon thinks she won't be allowed to die peacefully and she'll endure this pain forever. But in a moment she guessed what this strange feeling is. It is the enjoyment of what is happening. Ares continues to... The Titan just enjoys it, laughing. Ares doesn't realize how far she's going to go to ridicule him, but he's not going to give up. He wants to make her sorry. He decided to help the protagonists. Until tomorrow. A phoenix comes to Ares and brings apples, saying they are from the Demiurge. Ares realizes that it is almost noon. The phoenix says she will look after the Titan and the hero can rest. Ares agrees with her, saying he relies on her. Ares walks away. Phoenix turns to the Titan and says she's pathetic. The demon asks if she caused this whole scandal. Phoenix replies that she can't forgive her, because the Demiurge tries to forgive the Titan simply because she is kind, which is why she will not allow herself to be forgiven so easily. Suddenly, the Phoenix attacks the Titan and feeds her a mysterious berry. Titan doesn't realize what she's doing. Phoenix replies that that berry is a powerful stimulant that greatly increases the sensitivity of the skin. Phoenix says she wonders what it would be like to be punished like that. But the Phoenix advises her to try to keep her skates on. The Titan begins to tremble. 5 days have passed since the Demiurge asked Ares to punish the Titan. And still, Ares continues to torture the Titan, but she just laughs, which the hero doesn't like. He thinks she's just playing around, and Titan thinks the Phoenix is the reason her body has become so sensitive. She thinks it's cool, taking pleasure in it. Her sweat soaks into her wounds and it hurts even more, but that's the best part for her. She needs more stimulation with the whip. Work now, he was sober. Suddenly Ares says that's all for today and he won't torture her tomorrow, which scares the demon. The hero treats the Titan, saying that tomorrow will be a rest. He advises her to think about what she has done. Aries says that if she had just answered, they wouldn't have had to do all this. He asks her to think about it. He says he'll come back the day after tomorrow for an answer. Titan mentally asks him, she doesn't understand that how can he leave her in this state until the day after tomorrow, when her whole body is shaking and she can't do anything about it. The demon starts crying, thinking that this is even worse than the torture. His colleague tried to calm him down. The demiurge tells Aries that it has been a week since she asked her husband to punish the Titan, and she would like to talk to her. Aries hopes she has thought about her behavior. The demiurge asks if she's sure she wants to go, to which she replies that she's curious because the two of them are among the strongest demons. But what the Phoenix is really curious about is what happens afterward. The Trinity goes to the bound Titan. Suddenly, the Titan starts apologizing to them. She apologizes for all the trouble she caused her sister. The demiurge is surprised that the Titan actually admits all her mistakes. Phoenix unties the Titan, causing her to fall to her knees. She says she definitely felt pain. The demiurge replies that it's okay if she thinks about it. She will have many opportunities with them from now on together. The girl suggests that her sister grow a world tree, everything, and quickly runs to the cart. Titan yells that she will help them raise him, but asks Aries to torture her more, which leaves everyone in shock. The demiurge asks what Aries did to her, but he replies that he's surprised by that too. Suddenly, the Titan turns to Phoenix. She asks for more of that berry that increases sensitivity many times over. The demiurge asks Phoenix what the Titan is talking about. Phoenix is startled and replies that she just wanted to make sure she was truly ashamed of everything she has done. Personally had to check the situation. Phoenix runs away, apologizing to the demiurge. Demiurge runs after her, saying he will nail her. Titan asks Aries to come over, saying he should hurry up and punish her too. Very responsible, which means that everything must go clearly, without unnecessary actions. After that, the Titan officially became part of the plan to grow the world tree. He doubted she would help them, but she followed their instructions even too willingly. The world tree Aries says he's going demon hunting. The demiurge advises him to be careful. As they leave the house, Aries thinks the girl is acting strange. He thinks she usually acts very nice. Aries suggests that she has become distant. He thinks she became like this recently. She usually kisses him all the time when she goes somewhere. Aries thinks it started right when he started punishing the Titan. He doesn't know what happened between them before and after that incident. The guard. Aries thinks it's because he's bad at love. He falls to his knees, but he thinks that now is not the time to feel sorry for himself. He needs to become the man who really cares about the demiurge and supports her. Wars. Just come out of the forest and was exhausted. Titan kills monsters by collecting seeds. After collecting some seeds, she thinks that such small seeds won't do. She thinks she needs more, which annoys her. She is fed up with everything. Whenever she asks Aries to do this to her, he looks at her with disgust, but she loves the look on his face. She is already imagining how he will punish her tonight. Suddenly, the demon is approached by two girls, saying that she is having a lot of fun and it's even scary. Really inspired, the Titan turns around, about to attack. One girl apologizes to her for disturbing her, while the other says she's overdoing it. Titan reiterates once more who they are. They are all from the same creator. Titan guesses that they are one of the 4 strongest demons. The girl replies that that is correct. She is a dragon god, and the other girl is a hippo. She asks if they can imitate humans too, to which the dragon god replies that in their true form, they stand out a lot. Titan asks why they are here. The dragon god replies that they are here to see the... Titan asks Hippo why she is here, to which she replies that there is no other reason, and she does not have to tell her. Hippo calls Titan an idiot, which she enjoys. Another of the men exclaimed that he knew this would happen. Hippo says that Titan has become strange. The Titan thinks she can't forget that haughty look. The dragon god apologizes to Titan and says that if only she could take her and Hippo to their creator. Have trusted him. After all, few people would save her by going against the government. But the Titan doesn't think she should be the one to talk about it. She doesn't know if she should take these two directly to them. 2 of the 4 strongest demons. The Titan doesn't know if they're up to something bad. Finger to her lips and asked her not to scream. But the amount of mana they have now is significantly more than her. Titan thinks they will still have a chance with Phoenix. Titan turns around and tells the girls to follow her, for which they thank. Titan thinks that if things go wrong, it will be her fault. And in that case, the master will punish her much more severely than usual. Going after Titan, the dragon god notices that Titan looks very happy, to which the hippopotamus replies that it's disgusting. The demiurge is standing near the tree when Ares approaches her from behind. He tells her that she did a good job today, to which she agrees. Ares shrinks from this response, thinking that demiurge has cut her off at the root. But that's because of his inability to show attention. Suddenly, Ares says whether demiurge feels tired, since she keeps feeding mana to the world tree all day long. The girl is surprised at such words. The area. She replies that it certainly makes her feel a little tired, but Ares may not worry about that, and the girl turns away to the tree. Ares asks to wait a moment and offers the demiurge some rest. Even though he considered all the options, luck pursued him. He sits down on the ground and tells the girl to lie down. The demiurge doesn't understand what the guy means, and Ares clarifies that he means demiurge says that then it will make her husband uncomfortable and that bothers her, but Ares yells that it doesn't bother him. He doesn't think it won't be a problem. He just wants to help demiurge just a little bit. Demiurge replies that if he feels that way, she will sleep on his. The girl lies down on the guy's lap and thinks. Since the day she slept with him, she thinks she wants to pamper her husband. She wants to bare their backs and wash each other. She wants to fall asleep and wake up in his arms. Answered without hesitation that she was. She wants to enjoy a happy and colorful honeymoon. However, it would be a very bad relationship where they only want each other's bodies. Like a good wife to fulfill her mission and grow the world, she promised herself to suppress her urges. Lying on the guy's lap, the demiurge thinks it feels good and she can't resist. Ares notices that the girl looks happy and thinks that's a good. A Titan comes to visit the couple. The demiurge wonders how it went and if she was able to collect enough anima crystals. The Titan replies that she wasn't very successful at it and Ares and demiurge shout who these are and that they did not expect the Titan to bring strangers with him. Suddenly, the dragon god rushes to demiurge and says that they have not. Ares doesn't understand what they are and why they call the creator demiurge. The dragon god hugs demiurge, saying this is her mom. The dragon god says she is so glad she is okay. This makes demiurge uncomfortable. Bushes. She yells at her to let her go, asking who she is. The dragon god apologizes to the demiurge, saying she was touched. Demiurge yells that she is not her mom. The demon introduces herself, saying that it has been 2 years since she was first unable to feel the presence of. The demon says it's been a long time, thousands of years since the demiurge gave her life, and now it's come back to her. Demiurge thinks that by her mana, she really is a dragon god. The demiurge is touched and says that she has indeed. The hippo turns to the girl. The demiurge turns around and says that if she showed up with the dragon god, then she is hippo. The demon confirms this, happy that her mistress is fine. Demiurge apologizes to them. Isn't safe yet. She asks the hippo to come closer to show her face. The girl hugs both of them. Titan, looking at this, says it's an emotional reunion. Suddenly, Ares says he's glad it was, but he tells her not to bring any more unknown individuals to them mindlessly, for the world tree grows here. Also, here is the demiurge! Ares yells out what the Titan will do, but Ares replies that all she has to do is understand and be careful next time. The Titan shrinks back, for she had hoped that Ares would get the best of her. Suddenly, Phoenix appears and is surprised by the arrival of the dragon god. The dragon god says she's glad the Phoenix is doing well, and the hippo greets her. Ares thinks that he somehow suspected this day would come a long time ago, but he never thought it would come so soon. Now in this forest is the demiurge and her most powerful demons that have ever existed. 4 of the most powerful demons have gathered together. Suddenly, the dragon god turns to demiurge and wonders what kind of person she is. Hikaru continued, which means that they will search everywhere, but not in pond. Yes, comma. Most likely it will be searched too, but not as thoroughly as other cities. Suddenly, comma, the guy heard something. Hippo says that she's interested in that too. Aries says his name is Aries, and 2 years ago he was a hero and fought against the demiurge. The dragon god replies that she has heard of him. He had never seen such a person, and judging by the emblem, it was a knight. She had heard that there were those who had recklessly challenged her mom to a duel. Behemoth wonders why the hero who was an enemy to them is now with them. The demiurge replies that she has fallen in love with Ares. Hippo asks why that is. The demiurge is about to answer, but she is interrupted by the dragon god. She says that Ares died in battle with her mother, and she shared her life with him, and now they both must nurture the world tree. Ares confirms these words. Hippo asks in other words if Demiurge mated with this male. The girl replies that she did. The dragon god revels in this. Ares wonders if she doesn't mind that they are together, and preferably not to move. The demon replies that it's not that she has any reason, however. If this is the man her mom chose, she doesn't have a single reason to be against it. Ares says that's good, thinking that the phoenix was completely against it. Suddenly, the hippopotamus says she wonders if Ares really defeated the lady. The demiurge asks if the hippopotamus thinks she is not telling the truth. Suddenly, the phoenix lunges at the hippo, asking if she really thinks her mother is lying. Hippo replies that she will not trust him until she fights him. So the hippo summons Ares to fight her. A worthless weakling doesn't deserve to be part of from family. Even if the mistress doesn't mind, she's against it. Phoenix yells that enough is enough. Ares shares his life with the demiurge. Hippo says she doesn't like it. She doesn't want to be around someone who isn't worthy to stand with her mistress. She wants to see for herself and see what he can do, that he defeated Phoenix and Titan. Ares replies that he understands. He says he'd be more than happy to take a duel with her. The demiurge is worried, but the boy calms her down, saying he can handle her. Everyone moves to the field. Huge sword. But now it was just a long sword. Maybe he was confused about something. The demiurge stipulates the rules. No killing your opponent. If they try, witnesses will stop them. The demiurge gives the signal to begin. Hippo immediately attacks Ares with his foot, but he dodges. He needed to get closer. She says she thought she would catch him off guard. The hippo praises Ares' reflexes. Suddenly, Hippo starts conjuring and attacks Ares again. The guy thinks she doesn't look like a phoenix. Hippo says Ares better keep up with her, or he'll die. The guy realizes that from the beginning, Hippo has been fighting in kill mode. Hippo again attacks Ares with his foot, which Ares again dodges. Fresh. Ares thinks that the Phoenix, Titan, and even the Demiurge underestimated him from the beginning of the battle because he was human, and it was only because he saw a gap in the defense that he was able to win. Suddenly, Hippo conjures up her beast power and she has huge claws. She attacks the guy, but he dodges again. Hippo slashes the rocks. Ares thinks that such power can't be compared to what came before. Sure, it tastes. Behemoth is surprised, saying that Ares is the first creature to survive her blow. The demon asks the wind to give her a blessing. She says she has never used this magic on us. She recognizes that Ares is the strongest of her opponents and attacks him again and hurts him a little. Ares thinks that this blow was a glancing blow and a straight punch would kill him altogether. Suddenly, the guy changes his movements. His power on the soul board, which meant that hitting him with a simple stone throw could hurt the knight. The hippo god notices this. The demiurge says they are exactly the same as when she fought him. The girl suggests that the hero may be using the skills of others, perhaps a former comrade. Ares utilizes Tuki's skills. The mind's eye somehow avoids being fatally injured. Behemoth attacks Ares, but he defends himself using Martina's power. He says it's his turn now and conjures an aerial bomb. Puzzled Rollins. Hippo dodges. Ares says he's not done yet and conjures a wave of ice. The magic doesn't work, and Ares conjures a water shot. Phoenix notices that the guy is just haphazardly using she thinks the wizard must have some idea. Ares conjures a stone tomb, but the hippo dodges her again. The demon yells how much longer Ares will wait. She doesn't realize when she showed up. Ares replies that the hippo didn't remember the spell from a couple minutes ago, given the large number of spells. Hippo realizes what Ares has been trying to do. Ares conjures a thunder barrier. Hippo falls to her knees. The guy comes closer to her and brings his fist in front of her face. Hippo asks if she lost. Ares replies that if the Hippo says she has realized and accepts her defeat. Suddenly, the demiurge rushes to Ares, saying that he made her worry. She thought she was going to faint when she saw him. Hippo apologizes to Ares. Phoenix yells that she should definitely apologize, because she told her they have one soul for two. But the dragon god herself could never do it. The demiurge replies that she had to do it to save her husband after his death. Ares says that they both share the same life. If one of them dies, the other will die. Here, Hippo says that Ares is then no longer fully human. The dragon god confirms this. The soul is the basis of life. If this soul is the same as their mother's, then Ares is no longer human. Demiurge explains that, of course, in a biological sense, she doesn't think he can call him human. Demiurge apologizes to Ares for not telling him right away. Ares says it's okay. The blood hadn't stopped, so it was worth treating. He thinks it's even better conditions for the couple's wife, so she doesn't have to worry about it. Even on the contrary, he wants to thank her. The couple hugs. The hippo looks on and says he's strong. The dragon god says she watched their battle and doesn't know if she herself could have defeated him. Hippo says that to her. Humans were only targets for killing, but this male is no longer. Suddenly, the hippopotamus hugs Ares, saying that it is unfair to appropriate a strong male and she is going to mate with him too. The demiurge goes into shock. Decided to do something too. He saw that Livia is also very worried. The girl's hands were shaking, which she hid. The guy realized that if to solve this problem, only together. The demiurge yells for her to wait. The dragon god is amused by this, and the titan doesn't understand what's even going on. Phoenix asks the hippopotamus what is going on, to which she replies that they should not appropriate a good fertile male. Wanted to save her too. Hikaru asked if the girl would help him. She quickly answered that yes. Hippo thinks the best males should create a harem and lots of children. Demiurge screams that Ares is only hers. Hippo says that if she has good offspring with this male, the couple is shocked. The demiurge says they don't have to kill people right now. As long as they can nurture the world tree, the world will move towards stability. They should not resort to such measures to create strong individuals. The knight saw the continuation of the tracks. Their continuation puzzled Rollins, for the tracks led to the other side. He did not believe it, for there were many distractions on the road, and he had seen no one. Hippo hugs Ares harder and says that the instinct of all living things is to leave behind strong offspring. Demiurge yells that doesn't mean she has to sleep with her husband. She yells at her not to forget herself and pushes her away from Ares, while saying that the people had escaped and it would cause problems. When he approached the horse, the man realized that it had been killed by a single stone. Demiurge says her husband will be uncomfortable. The hippo says that even males like to impregnate lots of females. It's a basic instinct of males. Demiurge, the only person Ares can pour his love into is her. She will be the only one to give him children. The dragon god says the demiurge acts like a child. He was amazed by the size of the circle because it was more than 5 meters. Usually, one person can make such a circle no more than 2 meters. Hippo says that's not true, and she wants a baby too, and asks the others if they want one. Phoenix says she doesn't want one, and Titan says it doesn't really interest her, but she wonders if Ares could force her to lie down and make a baby, and swept its scythe across his neck. The man realized that there was someone here and was clearly frightened. The dragon god says that the hippopotamus must not touch her mom's stuff. However, there aren't many men worthy of being with them. She can understand why Hippo wants to do this. Huge neck wound. Demiurge yells at Hippo to let Ares go. She's not going to give her husband to her, but the hippo says she wants to mate with him and make lots of babies. The dragon god says he doesn't think they can hear her. Ares out. The action shifts to night. The couple is lying in their bed. Ares is awake and pondering. Like the phoenix and the titan, the hippopotamus and the dragon god have agreed. Ares notices that the demiurge is awake as well. The girl murmurs, saying she would never give him to another girl. This makes the guy smile. The girl objects, asking what he's laughing about. Ares replies that he feels a little better and apologizes. Demiurge is indignant, not understanding what Ares is talking about. She is still worried about the hippopotamus crawling over to them at night. Ares says he kept wondering why she was avoiding him. This girl. He asked to let him go, and give him a chance to explain everything. Repair wounds. The demiurge does not understand what he is talking about, for she has never avoided her husband. Ares replies that she didn't notice. Ares says that after the day they did it, they never did it again. Meanwhile, Anna registered the girl in the guild, giving her a rank of G. She was incredibly happy about it. The boy was glad too, for they had stopped working sooner than he had expected. With the Titan and everything, there was still no way he could get in the right mood with her. But even when everything was sorted out, Ares still felt like the girl was avoiding him. He assumes it was all because he wasn't giving her much attention. This made Livia sad, but she realized that there was nothing she could do about it. Hikaru headed to the guild. Freya, seeing him, happily said hello, and the guy came to see if there were interesting tasks. He was afraid the girl hated him. Demiurge shouts that this is not true. There is no way she would hate her husband. Ares asks why Demiurge was avoiding him then. The girl stammers. Besides, Menos added that she replies that she had no choice, or she would have wanted to see him all the time. She doesn't think she could stop herself. Since that first night they tied that knot, she doesn't know how many times she has wanted to hold him and not let go. Her weaknesses, however, if that's what he thinks, that she's the one who only thinks about it, then she doesn't want her husband to hate her for it. So she told herself she would keep those urges to herself and held herself back the whole time. Realized that there was no suitable one for Hikaru. Suddenly, Ares kisses Demiurge, saying that he wouldn't hate her even if she wanted him to. He asks how Demiurge thinks Demiurge feels about why he agreed to fight the hippopotamus so quickly today. The girl to fight, so she asked what she was good at. Primo replied, Ares says he wanted the girl to know that he was the one for her. He wanted all 4 of the strongest demons to know that he was worthy of her. The demiurge is shocked. She says Ares started acting so cool. Ares wondered if he could allow an unsuitable person to be allowed near his creator. Hearing that, he was really hurt by it. It was going on and pulled the others with her. Haru apologized to the girl, explaining his departure by saying that he had something to do. At the end, he added that everything was done now. Livia wondered if that was true. The hero replied that it was. Ares hugs the demiurge and says that on their first night he told her he would love her for real. Ares thinks he has fallen in love with her, so much so that now he can't let go. Ares can tell exactly what Demiurge really loves. The action moves to the next day. The Demiurge shows all the demons the seed, saying that here is the hope of the world. Suddenly, the hippopotamus smells Ares and sniffs him. The dragon god also relents. She says that Demiurge and Ares were doing conjugal duty last night. Phoenix yells that's not what they came here to discuss. Demiurge says he wants the hippo and the dragon god to transfer their— The dragon god replies that if that's what the mana asks, she doesn't mind. The hippopotamus also agrees. The demiurge thanks both demons. The girl passes her mana to the seed, leaning her arms against. She went on to say that no matter what the hero would become, vampire, werewolf, scary monster, she would still keep her promise. The girl said it seriously and confidently. One day this sprout will become a great tree that will keep the world going. Phoenix congratulates the demiurge, and the Titan asks the others if they aren't all glad. Cool, and that her master often says that the girl has good skills. Hero asked if she was ready, to which the girl replied that yes, but it was the first time she did such a thing, and afterwards asked him that they hold hands. The demiurge says that none of this would have been possible without her husband, and even with him, it was not possible without their help. The demiurge is very grateful to them. She asks them to watch the world tree grow. The demiurge says that today is a good day to celebrate. Suddenly, there is another gust and an egg appears in the place of the sprout. Everyone is shocked. Stood aside and conjured up a monster, the wolf of the forest. The world only wanted to take advantage of her. A naked girl hatches from the egg. The demiurge realizes who it is. It is Yggdrasil. Ares stands puzzled. The naked girl tells Demiurge that it has been a long time since they have seen each other, to which Demiurge agrees. The Demiurge tells Ares that it is the spirit of the world. In a way, she's like a sister to her. Ares remembers that the Titans said something like that to him. Demiurge wants to introduce Ares to the girl, but she moves closer to the guy and says she knows he's Demiurge's husband. His answer confused the girl. He said he was only admiring the sleeping lady. She slipped under the blanket and turned away from the guy, and then she confessed that she was very embarrassed. Demiurge asks not to know her childishly. Yggdrasil says she has long been accustomed to being called that. The Demiurge says she may be the spirit of the world tree, but she would like. Yggdrasil says that Demiurge looks many times better when she sticks it to Ares. She looks like that from last night. Demiurge takes it back and lets Yggdrasil call her whatever she wants. And the guy continued. He apologized to her, saying that he shouldn't have made her more tired yesterday. The girl interrupted him, saying that she was so ashamed that she didn't even want to think about it. Ares thinks the Demiurge looks like she's been taken and switched. She said Yggdrasil is like a sister to her. She seems more at ease with her than with him. Ares looks at the girl and thinks she should. Yggdrasil conjures up some clothes for herself. The Demiurge says she's too relaxed, to which she replies that it's not true. The dragon god says that the spirit of the world tree that has existed. The spirit looks at the girls and asks if they are the 4 strongest demons. She says it's a pleasure to meet everyone but the Titan. Phoenix yells that she is looking forward to working with her. Magic and attacked the wolf. Realized that the guy had always been waiting for this. The girl snapped him out of his thoughts. He asked her if she was curious about how he disappeared and how no one found out about it, how he kept the secret. Yggdrasil tells her not to be so formal and she can just call her Yuchan. Phoenix says that's disrespectful and she's not going. The Demiurge asks the girl not to upset the Phoenix, to which she replies that she will soon get used to it. Suddenly, Yggdrasil turns to the dragon god and asks if it is them. The girl confirms. Ares says she shouldn't call her that. But the dragon god replies that she's heard that she and her mom are like a sister to each other. An auntie would be the best way for her to address her. He looked at her, realizing that this girl wizard is the girl created to kill monsters in this world, asked to be together with him. Yggdrasil replies that it sounds good and she likes it. Titan clucks and asks what's the point of just standing there like that. Yggdrasil turns to Titan and says that a lot has happened since then and they haven't seen each other in a long time. He would never meet someone he could trust with all his heart. She must look at her reproachfully. But thanks to her, she has awakened a new self. The spirit thanks the Titan. The demon doesn't understand what she means. The Titan Yggdrasil says she's fine with it. Ares asks the Titan what's going on, to which she replies that she was dancing to her tune. She adds that Ares helped her with this, but he probably didn't understand. Titan had previously damaged the world tree in an attempt to recover mana. She allowed Titan to suck her mana out of the world tree, and on top of that, there was information regarding Samaya. For an alibi, he memorized what he read, claiming that he had little chance to read the latest edition. After Titan was defeated by Ares, the mana he took from her was channeled into the seed of the world tree. It is referred to by Ares as carrying mana. The Demiurge says it was extremely reckless. Yggdrasil replies that it's because she couldn't do that. Take mana from the world tree even if it dies. The Demiurge is shocked, realizes what would have happened if the Titan had defeated her husband then. Was busy all the time. The spirit replies that she hoped she wasn't worried about that. She watched the 2 of them through the seed. She also watched them fight and believed that Ares could defeat the Titan. Ares likes those words. The Demiurge says she didn't doubt his victory either. Yggdrasil slams the Titan and says it's the wisdom of her ancestors, even though it was her stupidity that made things work out so well for them. The Titan gets angry and calls the spirit a petty bastard. Assumed that he was a secret agent or an assassin. Yggdrasil replies that then, since her plan worked, the past will be the past. However, she doesn't think it's all right. Apparently, she should be punished a bit after all. Titan is tied to a tree upside down. Ares apologizes to her, saying that it was Yggdrasil who asked her to do this. The Titan replies that it pleases her. Ares does not understand what is happening to her. Demiurge yells that the hippo and her husband are going hunting together. There is no telling what might happen, so she is going to go with them. Hippo hugs Ares and replies that he doesn't know what she is talking about. We're suffering from plague. The country was in decline. Suddenly, Yggdrasil says that the Demiurge will have to help her. She pulls her away while she tells her that her husband will be with the cat girl. The dragon god reassures her. Yggdrasil says that whether she wants to or not, she will be helping her today. She adds that Ares will be able to see something interesting after the hunt and wishes them luck on their hunt. Ares doesn't understand what she means. Thanks from the king himself. The action moves to a rocky plain. The dragon god wonders if the demons are hard to find, to which Ares replies that they hunted almost everywhere. Suddenly, the hippo smells something wrong. The dragon god notices that she has an excellent sense of smell. Ares turns around and sees a flock of squeaking Garudas, the class demons, in the sky. The dragon god reincarnates, saying she needs to greet them. Subject, asking the guy if he had really read that huge book. Hearing a positive answer, she suggested the hero to participate in the survey. She casts a spell, saying to make the birds a support for her mom and the world. The girl conjures a water shot, causing all the birds to fall. Ares is surprised that she can use so much magic, ice-type magic, and freeze the monster. He was very lucky that the dragon god didn't want to fight him. Suddenly, the hippo joins the fight. The dragon god says that she is not surprised that the just-defeated bird is showing her his bird after the attack. After the battle, Ares says that he never thought the squeaking Garudas would be a couple of trifles to them. The dragon god says she's honored that Ares speaks of them that way. He thinks it didn't take more than 10 minutes to kill them all. If ordinary adventurers saw this, they would definitely feel humiliated. Suddenly, the hippopotamus pulls Ares by his robe. She says that she did a good job today. Ares replies that thanks to her, they have collected a lot of crystals and also the meat of a squeaking Garuda, so they will have a feast. Suddenly, the hippopotamus says that he demands a reward. Industry. She lifts her clothes, exposing her breasts, and asks if Ares will mate with her right now. But the guy quickly runs away, saying he'll go back and feed the anima to the world tree. Hippo sulks. One break his toy. Walking through the forest, Ares thinks a hippo almost pounced on him. However good thing they were, high-ranking demons. The quality of the anima crystals is good. He thinks he needs to go on an expedition for high-ranking demons the last time a titan got in his way, but nothing will stop him now. Ares arrives in the forest and is greeted by the demiurge. She wonders what happened and where the others are. He replies that they will be here soon and notices that the girl looks tired. Suddenly, Yggdrasil says in the back to Demiurge not to talk about people like that, like they are some kind of tyrants. She tells Demiurge to go let off her floral scent. The girl replies that she doesn't give off any scent, but Yggdrasil says she doesn't even. She turns into a wordless child who does nothing but kiss. Yggdrasil says she's worried about her big sister, since she was born before her. The demiurge yells that she was only born 100 years earlier. Suddenly, the hippopotamus and the dragon god return. Yggdrasil suggests that they all go to the park. The action moves there. Ares doesn't realize what is even happening. Yggdrasil says they are there and a large house is shown in front of the crowd. Ares asks the demiurge what it is, to which she explains that Yggdrasil made her build her house from the morning to be lived in by everyone. She wants to live in it with everyone, as everyone else wants it too. There was still a lot left, enough to live on for a while. Demiurge turns away and says that she is important to the world, like a god, and doesn't understand why she would be interested in something like building a house. Yggdrasil replies that she says it's weird that she's in love with a human, even though she herself has talked about destroying humanity. And now she has even shared power with this man. The demiurge screams that there is nothing she can do, thinking that she too has similar feelings. After all, he didn't even have underwear, as well as a change of clothes. Yggdrasil says she has been lonely all this time and wants to have fun with everyone. Also, two people who love each other need to create a love nest. Demiurge is interested in this suggestion. She didn't care where she was going, and she was sure she wanted to have adventures. The boy decided to tell her about tomorrow's adventures. The girl was happy about it, but before he started, the boy asked her how she was feeling. Yggdrasil says that their nightlife can become more fulfilling. The demiurge comes to a shock as he envisions this picture. Phoenix wonders how they will build. Yggdrasil says that's why she called them in. If they were in their true forms, it would be much easier to chop up a couple trees and crack some rocks. Phoenix agrees with her, and the Titan replies that he's not going to help them do that. Because Livia misunderstood him again. The guy claimed that he thought the girl was very beautiful, but she didn't let him finish. Yggdrasil blackmails Titan, saying she'll do whatever she likes, to which she replies that she'll bring as much wood and stones as they need. The Demiurge explains that they're here now. The company goes inside and sits down near a table. Phoenix says that everything looks delicious, and the Titan remarks that they're having a party tonight. Ares looks at the whole picture with a smile. Ares thanks the girl for making this place for them. Yggdrasil says that Demiurge's jaw feels like it's dropped, but she replies that she's not bothered by her sister's teasing right now. The action moves forward. Ares is bathing in the tub, saying he can't believe the Demiurge even did that. Suddenly, a naked Yggdrasil appears and says that she asked Demiurge to build it for them. Ares thanks her and is shocked. He asks what she's doing here, to which she asks if she can join him, calling him half-brother and going to rub his back. Ares replies that he told her he would go first, going smoothly, and when they had a second rest, he decided to look in on the girl. However, when he opened the doors, he realized that she was not in the carriage. The girl added that Rogsa was a brave man to go and tell the guild in the capital. Unke said that this was a very reckless act. Yggdrasil replies that this is why she is here. If he will be here, so will she. She thought she could get to know her stepbrother better that way. After all, the best way to get to know someone is to see them naked. Ares calls bullshit. Yggdrasil says that if he keeps whining about it, she'll start screaming and the Demiurge will simply explode. She wonders what will happen if a jealous Demiurge sees the two of them naked in the bathroom. The man replied that the guard had a special interest in the girl. Yggdrasil says she will rub every part of her body. Ares blushes, which the girl notices. Suddenly, the Demiurge appears in the bathroom. She says she heard a noise and therefore came here. Complicates matters. She grabs Ares and takes him away, to which he asks her to at least give him pants. She brings the guy into the room and throws him on the bed, undressing. She says that he continues to be a catcher with other girls even when he has her. What kind of man could have wounded the captain himself, ? And when the old man said that, according to Roland's words, it was a child who called himself Silverface. The girl cried out, dumbfounded by the old man. Demiurge starts crying and kisses Ares, saying that he is only her husband. The couple makes love. Actions carry over. A tired Ares sits in front of Yggdrasil. She apologizes to him, saying that she did something bad to him and Demiurge. But she liked it. After all, Demiurge, who has always been sparse on emotions, is now showing a whole storm of them, and it makes her really happy. But the man replied that unfortunately he didn't know anything else. The girl brought the dialogue to an end by asking the man if that was all. She thanks Ares, saying that this is important to her and asks him to take more care of Demiurge. Suddenly, the Demiurge reappears, saying that the two of them have gotten. After all, even Yggdrasil confirmed that he did not cheat on her last night. The Demiurge says she knows, for the spirit has always been unpredictable. Demiurge says she knows, but says she can't control her emotions. Her heart gets hurt when she just sees him with another girl. She apologizes to him, calling herself stupid. Ares himself apologizes to her, saying he didn't even try to look at it all on her behalf. Ares informs her that he's going to go to the Sid City, the place where they've been before. Ares asks, the Demiurge comes to a shock. Ares says they haven't had a chance to be together in peace. The action carries over. Demiurge yells at Titan and Phoenix, saying why they went. Phoenix asks why they aren't allowed. She says it's to make things work and shows the ring. Titan says these are relocation rings. They can use them to get back home quickly. In-character confirmed it, remembering the trio, saying that there is indeed such a thing. He also told the girl that they would go in there sometime, after all. He is an adventurer. But first, the Phoenix needs to set up a portal, some sort of travel point. Titan wonders why he's bothering with all this. Phoenix says there are only low-level monsters around there. They will be able to increase their area of operation by putting portals in different places. Ares confirms that this will make the world tree grow faster. The Demiurge says she understands. Titan says 4 will be enough. The Demiurge says they will put up portals with just the two of them, but later. Yggdrasil says she has chosen as inconspicuous a place as possible. The trio approaches the gates of the city, where they are accosted by a familiar guard. She greets them and tells them his name is Kane. Aries remembers the guard. The man says that it must be nice to be a sexy man. Suddenly, Aries holds out a sack to the guard, saying he borrowed money from him and apologizes for delaying the debt. Soon, the couple was already outside the city limits. They were walking towards the place, holding hands. The girl wondered if there were a lot of monsters here, to which Hikaru replied that she could be calm. There were almost none. They came in very handy back then, and thanks to Kane, he didn't have to spend the night on the street. The man says there's a lot here, but Aries replies that it can be counted as interest. Amazed, the man says he has no problem taking them and adds for the company to be careful. This is one of the safest cities in the country, but there are still those who, though he already stands out when he walks around with so many girls. Aries says he'll be careful. The action moves back in time, a few weeks earlier in the lands of the kingdom. The enemy will have 5 attempts to eliminate him, but at this moment, the guy decided to do magic as well and used 9th. Martine says her work is done, to which Tuca, standing behind her, replies that it's a lot of work. Martine replies that since the last examining piles of papers every day, stamping stamps, she had no idea that the job of a knight commander was so boring. Tuca replies that she shouldn't say that, because Martina doesn't know when she last held a sword in her hands. She is losing skills at an incredible rate. Tuca asks if Martina wants to train to fight after all these years. Martina asks if she will have a problem if she injures the sword of the guardian priestess Rinsis herself. Tuca asks not to be called that and says she's not so easily hurt. The action carries over. The girls stand armed. Martine says it brings back memories. She is reminded of Aries. Suddenly, a bird with a letter flies past the girls. Martine doesn't realize that Sophia is in such a hurry to give it to them. Martine reads the letter and realizes that Aries. Tuca doesn't believe her, but Martina replies that there is still a possibility. Tuca doesn't believe Sophia could have mixed up the mana. Martina says that they definitely need to find Aries. The action moves back to the city. Yggdrasil says the portal is ready. The Demiurge wonders if this thing will stand out. The Titan says it will, but now they can go straight home. Yggdrasil says the Titan is more worried about. Suddenly, Aries is approached by a group of bandits. The leader says that he has been following Aries, and he looks like he has a purse full of gold. Aries remembers the guard's words and asks what they want. The leader replies that they are broke and have problems with women. The other guy says that they earn what they earn and spend, and a lot. The ringleader says all Aries needs is money and girls. He says they will give these girls a memorable night. The Demiurge doesn't understand what these guys are talking about. Aries tells the girl not to worry about it. Associated with weapons or spirits was a little different. Suddenly, Aries notices Yggdrasil enjoying the whole situation. The Titan is also getting pleasure from their stares, which also occupies Aries. The ringleader asks what she's laughing about. The Demiurge replies that they want to have sex with them. But they are not going to mate with inferior beings, for they are nothing more than stinking animals. She would never mate with the likes of them. Aries asks the girl not to put on a show here, but Demiurge tells the guys to leave. The ringleader attacks Demiurge, but Aries fakes a blow to himself. Guy replies that this blow is no worse than a mosquito bite. He adds that there will be no date if Demiurge puts on such a show in public. The ringleader says that Demiurge talked to him. The ringleader shouts to his boys to kill Aries. One of the guys insults the Demiurge, for which Aries grabs him and lifts him up by the throat. He corrects him, saying that his wife. Aries turns his head and glares at the other guys, which makes them go on the run. Titan says they're pathetic, but she thought they'd have fun with her tonight. The action carries forward. Demiurge reads the menu and realizes that this food is made by humans. When they were in the forest, they mostly ate sacred apples. She assumes they were tasteless to her husband because he was previously human. Technique 2. He wondered if he could do it. Suddenly, the waitress says that the Demiurge is reading this with great enthusiasm. The girl replies that she wanted to treat her husband to a delicious meal. The woman says that Demiurge is so lovely. She calls Aries a lucky man, for having such a beautiful wife to take care of him is sheer luck. The Demiurge says she will take this book with her, but she has no money. The Demiurge apologizes, but the woman says that in such cases, you should say thank you. Suddenly, the demiurge hears two guys discussing a book about Ares, the worst hero of all time. They call him a cretin and a walking piece of trash. He abandoned his mission to save the world and ran away. The fact that he was born is just a crime. Her husband sacrificed his life for these fools. Suddenly, Sophia enters the conversation, saying that Ares is not a bad man. Martina and Tuca suddenly appear. The demiurge notices them. The action moves to the Hippo is not happy that Ares and the demiurge have not returned yet. The dragon god says it's only been 2 days. Hippo replies that she could have done it 10 times in 2 days. Phoenix, she assumes that this must be what they are doing right now, or rather they are even taking turns doing it. Suddenly, the hippo gets up and leaves. Phoenix asks where she is going, to which she tearfully replies that she is all. The action shifts back to the city of Sid. Sophia doesn't understand why Arisa is being written about so badly. Tuca says she needs to get rid of all those books. Martine says she will pay for all the books, but the woman. All people learn that these 3 girls were together with Ares. They are heroes for defeating demons and saving the whole world. Tuca says that this title belongs rightfully only to Ares. Martina tells everyone to leave. The girls burn all the books about Ares, not realizing that he could have written them. Tuca says it can't be helped since they treated him exactly the same way and dumped him afterward. Martina yells for Tuca to stop. In the past, she says they tried to ignore how he really felt. They left him, and he was the one who saved the world, single-handedly playing the role of the hated hero. Tuca says that's why they have to figure it out on their own. Demiurge tells Ares everything, but he thinks he can't see them anyway. Ares replies that he is going to help the world tree to grow faster and save the world from destruction and live happily ever after with the demiurge and their friends, which is exactly what he is. The demiurge replies that those people whose husband sacrificed his life to save them, they are not at all grateful to him. Moreover, some of them continue to misbehave. The demiurge does not. Ares replies that she is right. There are some people in this world who are so stupid that nothing can be done to help them. Ares says it's all just a consequence of what they've accomplished fighting for their lives, which is why they're here now, and he has no regrets. But he does. The demiurge replies that everything is fine. Suddenly, Yggdrasil says she is late. The Titan follows her, carrying a lot of things. The girl says that she has bought more than she thought, such as beds for each of them. Ares wonders how the Titan feels. He can move things into his magic backpack, but the Titan refuses, saying it's even wonderful to think of it as a game. Yggdrasil tells everyone to go home and opens a portal. The demiurge says that no matter what happens, she will always be at her beloved husband's side. She thanks Ares for choosing to stay with her and says she loves him. The company moves toward the house. Ares also says he loves her. He found her in her secret place. 7 dot, but comma on the soul board, it was equal to 6 dot. He understood that the state of the soul was rising, and it was affecting the fire spirits. The girl looked at him and was surprised that he had managed to find her. Menno said he knew her very well. She thought he had come to mess with her, but that wasn't the case. The antagonist suggested that the increase could go with the girl's age, and if she had also practiced, the level would be much higher. But she had only raised spiritual magic. Guy, on the other hand, didn't hesitate to say he was taking her away for defense training. But Mikarin was too upset and resentful of her mother, who said she would only get in the way in battle. Mikarin informed the boy that she had always studied and trained hard in order to become stronger and protect her mother and the others. That she thought that was how the queen would recognize her. But it wasn't to be. Just him and Livia. All this information Menos knew. So he wanted to let it pass and wanted to go back to the castle. And the girl wanted him to at least try to calm her down. Menos tried, but the attempt failed, so Mikarin decided. And Menos realized that he made a mistake with the phrase, because in the game, Alex said a very correct phrase, after which they returned to the castle. But it happened that he could not behave like the main character. Besides, the time was. As the Dragon King's invasion of Fairyland began at this time, he flew right over Minos and Mikarin's heads. Who was the best at picking tomatoes? Suddenly, he realized that he had said too much and apologized to the priest. The flying monster roared that he was the Dragon King Nidhegg, and he was and is and will be the one to bring doom to mankind. and should not have said on the subject. But Mikorin, looking at the dragon, was confident that her mom could handle it as she was very strong and the barrier wouldn't let it through. But Menos pointed out that the girl didn't understand anything as the barrier was designed for a rank A monster, and the dragon was rank SS. Thus, the barrier would not be able to stop the Dragon King from striking him with his tail, teeth, and other parts of his body. He couldn't believe it was really the insides of a red-horned rabbit. The guy assured him that it was definitely them. The man shouted to the man that he was a good man and slapped the guy on the back. He yelped. The cook said he'd give the money to the guy a little later. He agreed to that. The dragon's next move was a fiery breath, under which the barrier failed. So soon it collapsed. Mikorin couldn't believe her eyes. With Livia about her abilities, and also remembered their hunt for the red-horned rabbit. Thereupon, the Dragon King gave orders to his kin, that is, the serpents, to attack and conquer these lands. He walked up to the guild building and entered it. Thoth saw the line for Freya, so he went behind the counter to Gloria. The girl looked friendly and was obviously happy to see Hikaru. He put a red-horned rabbit on the table and the girl thanked him and took the rabbit and also asked him to wait. Mikorin fell to her knees and stared wide-eyed at everything that was happening. These events were like the end of the world. She praised Hikaru, saying that at this rate he would soon rise in rank. Menos, looking at this, realized that the hero who was supposed to stop the dragon was not here, and at this rate the world would definitely end, so the guy took the girl by the hand. He fell into a stupor and led her forward, saying that they would now go to the battlefield and would surely fight and defeat the dragon, and then her mother would surely acknowledge the girl. Gloria said that Freya could use to study the basics of an adventurer too. As the girls chatted and Freya praised Hikaru, the latter realized that it was dangerous of him not to respond. He didn't understand why Gloria had asked him that question so suddenly, but Mikorin didn't want to go as she is really weak. And she was always weaker than him. Yes, she enjoyed being called strong, but not today. That she would close the guild for now, and that they should meet in 30 minutes. She realized that she had no chance for today, so she would not fight. Menos asked her if she was okay with it, watching everything she cared about perish. The girl could not look at it calmly, and would have a lot to learn. But despite this and other arguments and entreaties from Menos, Mikorin did not want to go to fight, as she believes that her mother is right, and she will only be a hindrance on the battlefield. The girl was crying bitterly, for she was afraid that her mother might die because of her weakness, so she asked the boy to go by himself. Her unkin called her for a conversation. The guy asked her about it again, and the girl confirmed her words, because the guy was interested in this case earlier. The Japanese man asked if there was anything new. Mikorin stood her ground. She wasn't going to go with Menos because she didn't want to get in the way, but that didn't impress the guy. He was to hear that the girl had disappeared, even though the enemy had not attacked. Afterwards, he also asked about Roland's. He asked if he had been killed. The girl answered him that no, but the head of the knights was seriously wounded. The boy accepted this information. Menos didn't deny that Mikorin was weak. He sometimes even found it funny when the town called her strong, but it wasn't up to her to decide if she was going to get in the way or not. It was up to him as to whether she was worth anything or not. Today, the protagonist asked the receptionist if the guild was looking for the culprits. The girl replied that no, because the whole country was already involved in the case. However, the guy noticed that in the end, the guild did not handle the task. The girl confirmed it. Holding her hand, the boy said he needed her, and the girl became embarrassed and cried after hearing such nonsense from Menos. The girl paused Hikaru. The protagonist didn't understand why they had stopped near a closed bakery. The girl said that this was where she lived. The boy was surprised because it was a bakery, not a house. The girl told him that she really lived here and that her parents were bakers. She also added that he should definitely come here for baked goods. At this, the girl began to resent it, and Menos said he had taken her in his arms as a princess, and generally, from this moment, let her consider herself kidnapped by him. She quietly offered Hikaru lunch instead, but realizing that he didn't hear her the first time, She pretended not to say anything and quickly ran home saying goodbye. And then he added that she needed to be an obedient girl and not twitch, at which point she stopped crying. That's when they went into battle. More information about Livia's case. And so they made it to the castle, just as the fire blazed, but Menos told Mikarin not to worry. Besides, the guy's wolf appeared beside them, trusted to Pia and the healer. Pia remarked that meant it was time to reorganize. Menos had no need to use eloquence, for Glacia understood him at once and assumed her true form, at which time they saw Primo on the roof of the men. She remarked that after that incident, it was hard for her to believe that there were adequate men who were adventurous. Paula added that she could only trust Hikaru, and immediately introduced him romantically. Pia was not satisfied with her friend's words. She said, that was it. She didn't like Hikaru because he didn't consider girls as a guild, but Paula defended him because that wasn't the point. The Demon Queen reported back that she kept the castle from being damaged as requested, but the elves didn't sit still in the castle and wouldn't let her in either. Was Pepin. Meanwhile, the elves, led by the queen, were trying to fight the dragon. They were using level 2 ice arrows to do so, and the queen's level 5 light magic was a light bomb. Despite his wounds, said he was fine, but this had no effect on the Dragon King. He called them all weak and began to use his magic and attack, under the onslaught of which the defense of the elves began to crack at the seams. It shattered the elves' defenses completely, many of them already lying unconscious, the queen herself barely standing on her feet, leaning on her staff. Evening, and soon some wounded adventurers had entered their village. They were asking for help. At that moment, Mikarin ran up to the queen. She hugged her mom, who was hurt, but kept talking about how she asked her not to come here. The mysterious forest was very close to their village. Only now Mysteria realized that Menos was right. She was the one who underestimated the Dragon King's power, so she was now asking her daughter to run away and save herself. At this point, the dragon gloated, noting the touching nature of the moment. But honestly, he didn't care, as everything paled in the face of his immense power. He talked about some sort of middle-level dungeon. He kept amusing himself and saying, "Let despair fall upon their heads," for they knew not what to do and trembled with fear of him. Anything about it, and asked Unken about these dungeon levels. He began to tell him that there were 2 types of dungeons. The first type was safe dungeons, and the second type was where monsters and floor bosses lived. Menos realized that none of the elves would be able to survive from the Doomsday Flame, as level 100 was required to survive. But the dragon didn't take something into account. The forest was a multi-story dungeon, namely Menos, who stepped in front and prevented him from using the flames, summoning a slime that filled the dragon's entire maw. As well as on the 3rd floor, everything consists of roots, so it is called the root floor. To attack with the Doomsday Flame, the dragon needs to charge up, and during this time, Menos can summon a monster to block the attack, thus making it impossible to use the flame. Menos, on the other hand, looked the Dragon King in the eyes without a drop of fear, saying that he liked what he said about everything being meaningless in the face of overwhelming power. This infuriated the dragon, and he asked who the guy was. Twigbat. These monsters dwell on the 1st floors. To this, Menos replied that he was the former last boss, but the dragon didn't understand what that meant. There would be an executioner and a small C-rank wyvern. Menos phrased it more simply, saying he was the strongest and most admirable in this world, but the dragon thought that was nonsense and tried to sizzle him again. But again, he ate slime. There had been. The Dragon King was getting fed up with this, so he informed them that resistance was futile, and he would now burn down the world tree and put an end to humanity. After these words, he spat fire at the world tree, and the Elf Queen remarked that he had thought so-and-so about the purpose of the attack on Fairyland. The old man said that this information would definitely reach the capital soon, and that tomorrow everything would be revealed. At the same moment, Mysteria coughed up blood, startling Mikarin, but the mother spoke to her daughter about how it would be better if she went far away from home and never came back. But Mikarin replied that she had come home to protect her, and the queen realized at that moment that her daughter was too much like her. The knights introduced the lovely lady as the Royal Majesty of Castoria, and the queen admitted that she also wanted to protect her little girl, who was so fragile and delicate like a flower, so she wanted a life of an ordinary girl for her. She apologized to Mikorin, admitting that she had been a bad mom to her and asked her to save her life by running far away from here, as she might not be safe. Both of them answered in one voice. Accepted. Rollins asked the lady what happened. She asked the knight if he knew anything about the mysterious forest. The man replied that yes, he did, and asked if the lady was talking about a recent incident. Mikorin realized that her mother was going to die so soon, and the woman pleaded to take the Mati Menos girl away from here and save her life. Because those monsters were dangerous, but they were not a threat at the moment, to which Menos said he didn't want to do that. There was a silent pause, after which the guy said that the most interesting thing had started. After these words, he unzipped a secret pocket and took out some kind of bottle, poured the liquid from it on the queen, saying that here he would decide what the end would be. Hence, but he accepted her information. After that, the elf queen was as good as new. Her skin even began to glow, and Menos thought that this medicine had more healing power than he had realized. The man's last question was just a few words, whether they were going to start a war with Queen Bland. The girl calmly replied that they were. The man thought correctly. This partially changed the ending for the better, as Mysteria is alive, as are the other elves, but the queen was aware that she would not have the strength to defeat the dragon. One thing left for them to do then. The man replied that he was aware of that. The girl also notified him that Pepin was waiting for him on the first floor. Coming out to the people, the man said that he had bad news. She said that not years of training, nor wasted effort, nor humans could defeat a dragon. Menos agreed with that. He claimed he could only evacuate the locals. After all, he said from the beginning that she and the other elves will not win. They will only get in the way. But no one listened to him. That's why the game is getting so interesting now. She asked the wizard what kind of nonsense he was talking about. Then the wizard asked who the girl was. For Menos, this situation and the whole world was like a game. So a stalemate, a strong opponent, and the end of the world sounded very interesting to him. This could not be allowed to happen. Neither Mikorin nor Mysteria understood him, and he was going to have a good time, since the main character was not on the stage and he had free reign. Menos, on the other hand, had anticipated such a development, so he turned to Primo to signal it. That way, but would only make the situation worse. She calmed down a bit. The girl quickly summoned a mini Primo and through it relayed a message to Eufil, who began exterminating the snakes. Also glad that she had a low rank. Tree roots sprouted from the ground and set the snakes on themselves like meat on a skewer. The elves who were keeping watch were greatly shocked at what they saw. Could go to the mysterious forest. Menos came up with all of this based on his knowledge. Eufil scattered the parasite tree seeds in advance. The snakes were infected by them as they crawled, and when the reptiles were finished, the last stage left was the boss battle, which Menos marched in and called Mikorin to come with him. Freya was worried about the girls, asking Unken to stop them, but he couldn't do anything, because their actions didn't contradict the guild's rules. Mikorin got up and was about to go with Menos, but Mysteria tried to stop her, saying that if she went there, she would die, but Miko interrupted her. And escorting for the F and G ranks. Unken praised her, saying that she read people's actions in advance, but then hugged her tightly and apologized for her words when she insulted her by calling her an idiot. Gloria asked the man what about the Capital City Guild, because they could send people too. Mikorin recognized that she was weak, but nevertheless there were things that only she could do, so she is going to go and fight in order to fulfill her dreams. Meanwhile, in the Capital's Guild, the adventurers came to see if there was an assignment related to the mysterious forest. To their surprise, they saw no such assignment, and then those decided it wasn't that important. One of them noticed that the 4 eastern stars had returned. She said she loved her mom and turned and ran to Menos, who was waiting for her. The queen wanted to call out to her, but stopped and looked after her daughter, who was rapidly moving away from her. After that, the guy praised her for her good words And Miko replied that he was the one who said he needed her power, and in general, they high-fived each other and made a promise. And Mikorin wondered if she would be able to see those flowers from her distant childhood today or not. Had once again come out. However, adventurers above rank C are not allowed to take on this matter. Then her mother told her that Miko could see the beautiful flowers if the world tree got well, and then they would look at them together. So the girl made a promise that day to protect the tree. She was determined as a child to slay the evil dragon, to see the beautiful flowers, to have peace in the world, to... Beautiful flowers bloomed all over the world. This was the elf princess's goal, her dream, so now she was determined. At this time, Menos was telling his plan to Primo that Glacia and Mikorin would take their positions, and Primo was surprised that she wouldn't have to destroy anything today. So she decided to protect the others and wait. Primo sat down in a deep curtsy and wished her lord a successful and unforgettable hunt. The latter only smiled at that. With kidney disease, and Menos, every time he saw someone destroying what people protect so much, how lives were ruined, he immediately thought back to his childhood. Years ago, as he stood in a pool of blood of the innocent girl he was protecting, he became a demon lord. It would really bring him those samples here. He also asked if there was some hidden reason. That day he made a promise to himself that he would never again allow what was rightfully his to be taken away from him. He tried to be strong and considered kindness a weakness and began to take away, so now he was about to do the same thing. So he applied the seal-breaking skill and released all his skills. Finally adding that he was no longer alive. Out of the darkness, out of the shadows, hundreds of demons and different creatures began to crawl out, and Menos realized that he was not to be the hero of this fascinating story. He realized that even if he became good, he would never be able to become a fighter for justice. But he could not live the life of an ordinary person because of the emptiness inside. Violence, malice, arrogance, greed. This wretched dragon was inferior to Menos in each of these vices. I wonder how she managed to get away without being seen. Hikaru gloomed. At this moment, Menos's transformation began. Yes, he was not a hero and defender of justice, but he was the final boss of this world. When he finished his monologue, he looked at the protagonist. He took his true form. It was no longer human, but to the end a demon. But even in this guise, he was beautiful. The game had begun. Afterwards, he started to justify that he was only joking. The Dragon King saw that everything was going according to plan up to a certain point. The moment he flew towards the world tree, he saw that trees had sprouted through the bodies of his reptiles, thus killing them. The Dragon King stopped, unable to believe his eyes. Keepers are both right, the man implied. He realized that it all happened in an instant. But the people of this world don't have that kind of strength. No strength to resist the snakes and him. So how could this have happened? Who could have done it? For explosions, out of anger, the Dragon King didn't wait any longer and used flame breath. But suddenly, he saw a human where there shouldn't have been one. Very useful to him. But the Dragon King did not pay attention to this, because the man was under his direct attack and therefore could not survive. But he was wrong, and a hand with black claws appeared. At that moment, Menos, in the guise of a demon, launched a counterattack. For this, he used 10th level water magic and the Absolute Zero spell. Of deception. After all, his rank was only G. The Dragon King, after such an attack, was still surprised to see his flames disappear. But there was no water to wash it away, nor any wind to blow it away. Replied in the affirmative, and what happened was the following. All the flames the dragon had used were extinguished by nothing other than a chilling chill. A monster that used magic stones as a medium. This cold and ice not only got to the plants and flames, but also to the dragon as its wings began to freeze little by little. Yes, these kinds of dungeons produce resources, but normal mines with good lodging are worth a lot more. Toward the dragon, something or someone began to approach, and he looked fearful, but took note that the dragon had indeed grown large. Karu, and he stopped talking. Especially this contrast in height could be seen when Menos came close to him. The dragon, who was already on the ground, did not expect to see such a thing. The girl for the information, the guy went back to the hotel. Looking at the demon emperor, albeit a former one, the dragon realized that he had forgotten how to breathe, and time seemed to stop as he was mesmerized by the sight of Menos. At the same moment, the guy decided to tell the Dragon King why he had no chance of winning this battle. It was very simple. The dragon's main mistake was that he, too, the dragon wasn't supposed to let him near him, but run from him. But the Dragon King had no intention of doing that yet, though he felt a lot of pressure. And the guy's appearance raised questions, for he was certain that the man could not defeat him, and on that note, he rushed to the attack with the desire to teach the man who had challenged him a lesson. But Menos stood and did not move. Hikaru would have to prepare themselves. The boy replied that no, he didn't like Paula. The girl panicked. Squatting down, she cried. Hikaru came up to her and said that she was the only one he liked. He had a sword where his arm had turned into a paw, which he decided to use with the Dimension Splitter spell. Since the morning, she was beginning to think that he had gone to the mysterious forest. With one precise blow, Menom sliced off the Dragon King's hand-paw hand and it flew to an unknown destination. After that, the girl told her that Hikaru had indeed moved towards the forest. The dragon howled with pain and resentment. He did not understand where the guy got the sword, and the blow itself he did not see and did not feel. But nevertheless, the Dragon King clenched his teeth in pain. Blood was gushing from his wound. He missed this blow as it was too fast, and in general, he couldn't understand how the guy was able to penetrate the armor of his scale. So the former emperor decided to play with the Dragon King. He offered him the following conditions. If he can at least scratch him, then he will let him go, while not moving from the place. The dragon thought the guy was messing with him, so he decided to divert his attention and then strike him with his tail. Some wanted to wait for the walls to collapse, but Menos would not be fooled by this. He activated his 10th level axe skill and chopped off part of the dragon's tail. They didn't understand how he had gotten here. The Dragon King was confused as he couldn't understand how the guy had managed to counterattack him. He had thought it through after all, and Menos pretended to suggest that he shouldn't have done it. Since the Dragon King couldn't attack the guy up close, he decided to fly a decent distance away from him and try to sizzle the guy up. But there was no stopping her. But the Dragon King's quick use of his trump card didn't scare Menos, but introduced a state of boredom, so he used a 10th level bow skill. Who were attacked in the hut, not the girls. And the spell he activated was Crescent Moon. The arrow pierced the Dragon King's mouth with amazing accuracy. Lande of the 4 Stars of the East, and announced to the man, pointing her sword at him, that he was now under arrest. The dragon started coughing up blood and the doomsday flames disappeared, and the reptilian began to realize that no matter how much he put himself out there in this fight, he couldn't and wouldn't be able to get the guy. At this point, Menos informed the dragon that this was the final moment of the warm-up, and asked him to entertain himself some more, as he had yet to show what the pathetic human was capable of doing. The dragon considered Menos's words of amusement as humiliation. Oh, after all, the Dragon King and the guy was human. But looking at him and his magic, the dragon realized that Menos could hardly be called human. The dragon realized that calling the guy strong wasn't enough. His magic level was prohibitive, and there was nothing he, the Dragon King, could do about it. And saw that she was incredibly strong. Her swordsmanship was 5, while Rolance's was 6. The reptilian couldn't understand who Menos was, and he was really starting to get scared as his opponent was undefeated. That they had gone to survey the area for other villains. Menos stared predatorily at the Dragon King. He was only interested in one question. Was this all he was capable of? Was this the end of the game? Going to Monarch, to which he replied that he was not, because even this trip was completely spontaneous. The guy continued, saying that the dragon still had 2 legs and 1 arm left, and that was enough to fight, and he wasn't done with his invalid yet. The dragon, stammering, asked the guy to. Seizing the moment, the dragon began to persuade Menos to become allies and rule this world together. She also asked if she would stay in Monarch, because her father was the village chief, and he would be able to take the blonde in his big house. But that was not what Menos wanted. He stopped the reptile and asked ingratiatingly about whether he had given the dragon permission to beg for mercy. Solu suggested that he wait together, but the guy refused. The boy jabbed his finger at the Dragon King and said that he was nothing more than a toy for him, and that he only needed him for entertainment and nothing else. At that moment, the dragon realized that he was facing a monster. It turned out that in front of him was not a man but the embodiment of real, pure evil, that this guy was holding back his powers in order to stretch. But Nidhegg was wrong in another of his assumptions. This world, from its inception until this day, belongs to Menos, so it was foolish to suggest splitting the power between the two of them. He replied that it was the most common reaction. Having made his speech, Menos realized that there would be no continuation of the battle, so it was time for him to put an end to this boring game. Too angry-faced, the girl was surprised to see her. Something unthinkable began to happen on the battlefield. A huge number of different magic circles appeared above the dragon's head. Paula subordinately answered yes to her words, and also noticed that this statuesque girl, as well as she had healing magic. After Paula noticed the hooded girl, she was interested in her, but a familiar voice pulled her out of her thoughts. The priest ran up to Shufi and was very happy to see her. It was Menos's unique magic. He was going to use one of his deadly techniques. The guy wanted the dragon to know despair, would not scold her for becoming an adventurer without his knowledge. And the demon emperor called it Apocalypse Nova. The Dragon King was trapped and could not be saved. Conversation. Livia was asking Hikaru how they were, these very 4 eastern stars. The boy replied that he couldn't understand yet. The dragon was in agony from Menos's attack. Mysteria, queen of the elves, with the other elves, watched it from a safe place. She saw the sky in magical circles. At this point, Primo and Eufel were in the forest. They expected nothing less from their lord. But Eufel seemed to think it was too much for Nidhegg. His and Privo's strength would have sufficed as well. Yes, too. But Eufel still thought that it would be better for him and Primo to do all the dirty work and for their master to keep his hands clean. But Primo disagreed, asking her comrade to pay attention to his level rose to 61 and what was expected level increase slowed down. He immediately raised the layout to the maximum level with excess experience points and acquired a lot of troops have begun to move quickly using the transitional cities. It means they don't have to carry heavy loads. Marie noted that they had been fighting forever and could get some rest thanks to the transition gate. Taisha says he's going to Crossroads. According to Warden's address in that town, which belonged to the Royal Army, there's a mob of demons who've grown wings there all day. Their numbers are— The girl asked me to wait. The innkeeper they took care of, and also all the members of the Lawyers Guild, as well as all the members of the Lawyers Guild. Marie said she was going too, but the guy told her no. I don't need to go to such a dangerous place. The appearance of demons to the number of wounded, and finally something to— At times like this, he'll keep going. But if things get bad, let him run away and be careful. Taishi declared that he was going. Ethan pointed out that one by one there were too many of them. He also checked with— Warts stated that they said they were about to arrive. Ethan yelled that he was pulling them so he couldn't see anything at all. Taishi saved his life and noted that they had not seen each other for a long— Ethan noted how good he looked. Warts wondered who it was I had not seen for a long time. Wells clarified whether he could call him just a warrior, to which Taishi, at his discretion, he asked how— They can't understand where so many of them are coming from. Taishi stated that they have held out well and now they need to rely on him. Taishi used forceful tension. I've been a long time, not everyone has experienced this feeling, realized he appeared. Taishi was scanned. A sample of magic power 43 times the amount of magic. A sense of— Taishi for telling me to get out of here. He pulled the orb away and everything happened in an instant. Scanning. Destruction of magic pattern 343, magic power reserve XX. It showed up after all, the black orb. Ethan and Warts asked the guy if he was okay. More difficult. Well, everything was bad and he doesn't know if he can fight in this state if the enemy appears in the capital. Before that happens, he hits the black sphere, after which he would use the maximum explosion. In fact, it was definitely the case that the orders have been received from headquarters that anyone who tries to upset the balance must be eliminated. They must be eliminated. Taishi noted how similar they are to each other. The boys have stated that they will defend in. His opponents are not mere lawyers. to finish. Taishi asked the captain to allow him to demote the adventurers below rank A. Magic template number 343. Those who are trying to destroy the balance don't know what they're talking about at all. The explosion between the unexpected speed and the strange sensation of the moment contained his actions, and the moment for that coat to reach him was enough time. Taishi didn't realize that this was some kind of strange. Could this be the end of the game? Suddenly, he saw Marie. However, it wasn't alone, it was her magic, and he left that she was crying. He realized that he hadn't kept his promise to protect her and the rest. He told her to wait for him, and this is not the end. He will meet him not here. Vars called to prepare for a second strike, and the non-crusade troop was also to guard it along with the Night Order and the capital. They could no longer stand by. There was absolutely no sound from his movements. Moreover, when he swiped his paws on the ground, his lips were not raised, and that was the reason for his strange feeling. Even if the situation got out of control, it could be. Even if the advances are silent, that doesn't mean his tracks disappear. Then using Ice's skills to track the Black Lion and such, you'd be faster than him making any moves yourself. Taishi called out in response who he even was. He said that the destruction of magic pattern 343. Is it sharing information with the hand that appeared in the capital? In addition, Taishi asked him what HQ means, and those who want to destroy the balance. It sounded about stopping the transmission and the battle log. Those who want to destroy the balance, apparently HQ for the sake of what we. And so for every country, those who theater would destroy the balance? He didn't understand who they were, what their purpose was. What he needs to accomplish in the first place is not a monster or a unit. Ethan inquired if he was okay. He was so reckless. Taishi claimed he was at fault. But still, he was able to protect not only his girlfriend on everyone here. That's enough for now. Is 41? The girl's rank is exactly 104. The guy admitted, if she was not in the party, he would have talked to her, but now there is no such possibility. The girl asked, what are the chances that Sarika knows about her? The guy replied that he had no idea. At these words, the girl remarked that he had a lot in common with her. The guy said that it didn't matter because he had her. The girl became embarrassed. The guy, however, continued that he would definitely talk to her soon. Now the guy knew what he was going to do. The 4 Eastern Stars would be defending and evacuating the city, which meant the couple would need to stay in the city as well. The girl confidently confirmed that, yes, they were obligated to help them protect the village, but Hikaru noted that they would do more than that. The girl asked what other tasks they had. The main character said that they would defeat the floor boss. She was both surprised and scared by this task. She asked the man how he was going to do it. He asked the girl to ponder. There are many monsters in the mysterious forest, however. All of them are controlled by one boss. And it would be logical to destroy this one boss than to deal with each monster one by one. The guy stated that he was going to go to his place all alone. The girl yelled at him that it was too dangerous and also asked him to take her with him. The guy asked her to calm down. He rejected her idea of going with him because the girl's attacks would be quickly noticed, and he has them hidden. Then the girl asked him to promise her that as soon as the guy realizes he can't do it, he will come back. The guy said he would. The girl clung to the guy and told him that if he didn't come back, she would go after him. Hikaru started to calm her down, telling her that everything would be fine. He would definitely come back. Sometime later in the village, Hikaru followed Pola and, approaching her from behind, called out to her. He asked to speak. Soon, he introduced Livia to Paula, saying that she was from his party. The girl said a nice hello to Pola. She noticed that Livia was very small. He explained why he had come to the girl for help. He asked her to help Livia with food because he would have to leave the village for a few days. The girl said she would be happy to follow Livia. The guy gave her the money, but the girl didn't want to take it because he had already saved her life twice. Then he said it was for the church expenses. After all, they are buying food. He gladly handed her the money, and Paula, reluctantly, took it. She thanked the fellow heartily, saying that her father would be very pleased. The guy added that he had another request. He asked not to tell anyone about Livia's presence. The girl asked why. Then Livia started telling with a sad look that she was very afraid of men. She explained that it had to do with her past, and she couldn't talk to anyone but Hikaru. Paula was worried about her and said she could not continue. Hikaru was surprised at the girl's acting, but he could also exhale. Now she would be able to hide in the church. He told Paula that he was relying on her. There was a shout that the scouts had returned. Paula ran toward them. The 4 Eastern Stars told them that many low-rank monsters were coming to the village. The men realized that dealing with them would be easy. Hikaru remarked that such monsters would be really easy to deal with. But afterwards, the girl remarked that there were also a few monsters of stronger rank. This was also news that the warriors didn't like. But the unknown person without one eye had swept up that they would be easy to deal with anyway. Salus Kama, on the other hand, said that she wanted to take on the stronger monsters herself. The man, on the other hand, was defiant to her. He said that he and his Wildhorn party could handle such monsters on their own. After saying that, the group of men left the village. Pia was angry with them. After all, they didn't dare to talk to Solus like that. Pola asked what they should do now. In response to that, the girl said that they too go to destroy the monsters, and for the trio, those leave the village. After saying that, the 4 Eastern Stars also went on a mission. Paula turned around and said that it was time for them to go. Pia, on the other hand, asked why it was always like this. She said that she thought almost all men were stupid. Paula remarked that yes, there were some, but not all. These words made Pia mad. She had suspicions about Hikaru, but Paula said she shouldn't say that, because he had saved them more than once. Pia thought Hikaru was strange, always appearing out of nowhere and saving them. She assumed that Hikaru was to be feared, but suddenly Priscilla intervened, asking if they were going to fight over some stranger. The girls left, and the guy, seeing all this, realized that he was disliked. Livia was angry at these words. She didn't understand how Pia could say that about Hikaru. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the men easily dealt with monsters. This pleased them, because they can easily earn a lot of money in an easy way. The protagonist and the girl decided to watch them. The girl asked if they could defeat all the monsters. The guy couldn't answer this question. He didn't know. Suddenly, panic rose among the men. A huge tree-like monster came to them. It was called Torrent. It began to quickly deal with all the men, and then their leader asked the man to use magic. The man used a spell, and the monster seemed to be defeated. But suddenly another monster ran out at the people. It was ready to grab the man, but Sarah saved him. She was glad that they came on time, and also noticed that the fighting style of the men was only for beauty. The group of girls started to quickly deal with all the monsters, as well as rescue the men. The man asked what was wrong, since they had come on an assignment. But Sarah said that one must not only show up for it, but successfully complete it. The girl was asked what happened to the monster that had attacked the man. She replied that she had wounded it and it had gone away. But did that mean the end of the first stage? The men in the forest found gems that were left behind by the dead monster cores. They decided to collect them. However, huge monsters began to approach the men. But Hikaru was nearby and quickly dealt with them. He couldn't believe that D-rank monsters were so weak, and then said that it was time for him to get to work. Once in the dungeon, the protagonist noticed that it was as bright as daylight. He was very happy. It was his first trip to the dungeon. Suddenly, from the other end of the corridor, he heard a noise. Hikaru decided to use his throwing attack on the monster. After throwing his knife, he immediately killed the monster, surprising the guy. Due to his pumped-up skills, the attack was strong. But the guy realized that this was just the beginning. There was still more to come. Meanwhile, in the village. The men were once again going out to kill monsters. Paula walked over to her friends and called out to them. She told her friends that the monsters had greatly increased. Pia reassured the girl, saying that the 4 Eastern Stars would definitely handle them all. But the girl realized that they couldn't fight all the time. Pia agreed with her, to which Pola said it was still better to evacuate. Her friend supported her. All 3 of them went to the village head. Pia confidently told her father to gather all the people to evacuate. The father said that the girl said that Solus would control everything. Didn't she lie to him? The girl said that they were all hindering the heroes from fighting. The father was very angry and said that he didn't know that Solus considered the civilians a hindrance. His daughter was even more infuriated by this. But Paula broke into their dialogue. She explained to the man that humans can't fight indefinitely and adventurers must be called in, but Solus isn't giving up on this task. They're just having a hard time. The headman understood everything, but he and the villagers could not leave the village because they could not leave their vegetable gardens, which had been cultivated by their ancestors. Paula understood him and the people who wanted to stay, because if they left, they would be left without money and a roof over their heads. Pia said that her father is strange. This made Paula very angry. She asked why she says that because her father is suffering. She also added that earlier, Pia used to really love her father and understand him. Paula cried and also added that they were adventurers and should protect the village. Priscilla comforted the girl, but she ran away, apologizing. She cried in her room, blaming herself for not predicting Pia's behavior. Suddenly, she was called in for breakfast. The girl wiped her tears and said she was on her way. Her father noticed that she was crying, but the girl waved it off. After her father asked her if she was in love with someone. Seeing the girl's reaction, who remembered Hikaru, he understood and was happy. The two headed to breakfast. She said that she was very tired because she had been on duty for 3 days and was overstressed. She also remembered the words of the adventurers who had said that there were no monsters in the eastern and southern part of the forest. After saying that, she praised the girl for her good work. However, the dark-haired girl didn't know what her friend was talking about. Sarah continued that they found fire marks there and also asked if it was her friend's doing. The girl replied that she didn't go east. The two girls decided to go to the place to check it out. When they got there, the girl noticed that it was spirit magic, and it was very high. Her friend asked if she could tell from the ashes what kind of monsters they were. The girl noted that most of them were small, but there were a few big ones. Sarah asked Sariki what rank this mage would be, and she said that it would be rank B. The news both pleased the girls, because there was a strong ally, and puzzled them, because this mage was hiding. Sarah wanted to see this man. Livia appeared from behind a rock and said that she had been exposed. But she could rest easy now that there were no monsters here. She remembered Hikaru and knew that he was fine because he had promised her to come back. Meanwhile, Hikaru was having a good time. He walked down the long corridor, leaving behind the remains of the monsters, and suddenly saw a staircase. He realized that the dungeon was eating travelers. He noticed that there were even traps for people. Suddenly, he heard a stomping sound from afar. A huge wyvern appeared in front of him in a flash. He realized that it was a rank C wyvern. It was said that he was quite dangerous, and only the 4 eastern stars could deal with such a monster. But the guy gave him one strong blow, from which the monster immediately died. The guy felt bad because the dungeon had a strange effect on him. The guy's strength increased with every monster he defeated. He assumed that to raise the level, he had to raise the soul level as well. He looked at the ruby, remembering Freya's words. Suddenly, the entire dungeon shook. He cried out in fear. He realized that if it was a monster, it was clearly above rank C. From the sound, it was heading towards the village. He realized that he had to hurry, or it would be too late. Meanwhile, in the village, Livia was sleeping and life was going on as usual. Suddenly, there was a noise throughout the village. Livia looked up at the sky and saw that a huge dragon was towering over the village. The boy was walking up the stairs with a flashlight. He realized that it was the 5th floor because it was dark. The guy was able to defeat all the monsters he met and only had 3 points left to level up. Toth decided to increase his safety, so he increased the level of some skills. The hero thought about the fact that this is the most ordinary labyrinth, because there are not even puzzles here. But here he was, improving his skills by killing monsters, just right for an adventurer. The boy saw a light and headed towards it. He asked if there was electricity. He looked at the ceiling. It was the same as on the 1st floor. He was surprised by this, because there shouldn't be any light on the 5th floor. But suddenly, the boy saw a huge lizard. He didn't believe that it was the dragon, the boss of the dungeon. The guy started to walk towards the dragon, and the dragon woke up and yelled at Hikaru who he was. The guy was thrown away from the monster. He didn't understand why the monster was talking, and also, he didn't understand why the guy saw him hiding. The boy was starting to panic. He began to calm himself down. After all, it was better to be cold-blooded. Hikaru reassured himself that the giant couldn't see him now. After calming down, he began to think about what he should do. He couldn't approach because he would be detected immediately. Hikaru used the magic detection and saw that the floor of the dragon's lair was covered with magical threads. The protagonist realized that if he touched the thread, he would immediately be killed by the dragon's paws. Suddenly, the lizard raised its head to the hole in the ceiling. The guy, who hadn't noticed it before, looked there too. Meanwhile, in the village, a huge dragon began to attack. Solus ordered everyone to take cover. The girl asked if her friends were okay, to which Sarah replied that her ears hurt from the noise. The girl sent everyone to help by distributing the opportunities. The dragon spoke to the girl, which surprised her. She didn't know he was talking. The dragon said that if she thought he would pity them, she was wrong. Solus asked if the dragon was the monster of the dungeon or not, because there was no nest nearby, but he answered that he was a white dragon, which was the strongest, and there was also a black dragon. The girl didn't like this information, because it meant that another beast would appear. The dragon asked the girl if she was going to attack, or if her sword was just for beauty. The girl replied that this sword had seen the blood of many dragons on it. The dragon began to attack. The beast let out a huge flame from its mouth, but the girl repelled it with her weapon. The dragon was interested in this sword. The girl repeated that dragon blood was not new to her sword and said the name of her sword, White Ray Blade. The people nearby were amazed at the power of this sword. They told me that they said this sword could cut through anything. The girl realized that she had to get out of it somehow. She needed to save time so that people could escape. She realized that she couldn't win by fighting the monster directly, but the monster realized what she wanted to do. He knew she just wanted to stall, but he wasn't stupid enough to fall for her tricks. The beast aimed its flames at the house where the people were hiding. In the blink of an eye, everything was on fire. The beast enjoyed watching it. Then, the girl continued her dialogue about how all living things should kill for food, not for fun. The monster said that she was wrong, because for him, people are not even living beings. His purpose is to destroy people, and that's why he was freed. The monster continued to destroy the village, the heroine asking him to stop. There was already destruction all around. The girl realized that he was unshakable. She realized that all she had to do was fight. She would make him believe that there was a man standing before him who was ready to defeat him. The girl fought the dragon. She fought off its flames with her sword. It lunged at her, but she managed to bounce back. And with one powerful blow, she cut off the monster's arm. The beast, seeing this, roared. She was glad that she had wounded the monster, but realized that she had underestimated its scales. The monster said that he would not forgive the girl for this. But she still distracted him. The girl explained that there was only one plan now, to retreat. While she was fighting the monster, others were helping people escape from the city. She only had to stall for time. People gathered in a huge crowd outside the town. Among this crowd, Paula met her friends. Pia, on the other hand, went up to her father and told him that she was leaving everything to him. Father asked what it meant. In response, Pia said that she would go help Solus fight the monster and defeat the dragon. Father didn't believe what she said and called it nonsense. The man understood that the monster could not be defeated. But the girl did not believe him. Suddenly, Sarah intervened in the dialogue. She confirmed that the monster could not be defeated. Pia asked what about Solus, to which Sarah replied that she too had chosen to retreat, saying that we are all human beings too. The girl went to help Solus as well. Suddenly, the sentinel announced that the monsters were coming. Sarah ran to fight them and told the people to run and hurry up. Pia's father only sat down on the grass in response to these words. The girl didn't understand what her father was thinking and why he wasn't doing anything about it. She scolded at her father, talking about Solus, who was diligently fighting the monster. The elderly man reiterated that in the end, everyone would die anyway, and it was better to be here. He added that Pia could go. The girl was really pissed off by his words. Pia called her father a coward and ran away to help Soluz. Pola sat down with the man and they started talking about how Pia hadn't changed at all. When she used to resent her father as a child, she used to call him names and run away. The father was crying. He asked Paula to run away with Pia and save herself. Paula addressed all the people, saying that even in the morning, Pia had tried to persuade everyone to run away. But they did not agree, saying that there would be no town, there would be no them. But there's another way to think about it. The city is where we live. The people didn't understand what she meant. Then the girl repeated that Manurk was where they lived. Manurk doesn't become Manurk by being built here, because originally there was a forest. If there is no vegetable garden, then let's make one. She wouldn't let them tell her that they couldn't handle it, because once upon a time she was a coward too. But now she was fighting monsters. People started clapping for her. The priest noticed that the girl had grown very quickly. He remarked that after what she had said, people could sit idly by. Then, the headman got up and said that since they were going to die anyway, why not give it a try? The man thanked Paula for her motivation. She reminded the headman of his father's words. At that moment, the headman called loudly to everyone. He said that those immediately begin to leave, the women and children in the front, and the men split into groups. Meanwhile, at Hikaru's place, the guy didn't know what to do, since it was impossible to return, contrary to Livia's request. He improved another skill. He decided not to touch the threads. Hikaru jumped high, and once he landed, he easily traversed the remaining strands. He realized that the easiest way to kill the monster would be by finding its weak points, as he had done before, but with other monsters. With the help of magic, the guy found the dragon's weak points. It was the heart and the brain. He realized that he couldn't reach the heart and the head, so he decided to wound its neck. Hikaru jumped up and struck at the monster's neck, but the monster quickly threw the protagonist away. The monster asked him how he dared, but suddenly the guy noticed that he had caught a thread. The dragon struck fire at the point where the guy was before Dot. The beast didn't realize where the guy was Dot. After examining himself, the guy realized that he was fine, and he was also glad that he had figured out how to hit the monster's scales. He began to think about how he could defeat the monster, and realized that only when the pain reaches the monster perceives the attack. He realized that the blow should be struck in such a way that the monster did not realize that it had been struck at all. He took the blade confidently and looked at the monster. It was his time. Hikaru stood at the armorer's shop, who had made a new sword for him and reminded him that it could only be used once. The dragon noted that as soon as Shiro left the lair, a named guest appeared. The hero decided that the dragon could be his test subject. The dragon noted that as soon as Shiro left the lair, a named guest immediately appeared. The boy understood from his words that there was another dragon living here, the one he had seen in the sky. He realized that the dragon was heading for the settlement and that it would easily destroy it. The boy stopped procrastinating. He used stealth and chose his target, the heart. Stabbing his blade into the dragon and pressing the button defeated him. The dragon fell to the ground, perishing Dot. The guy saw the blade explode. Hikaru fell to the ground. He was very tired. He wanted to rest, but he didn't have time for that right now. In the pile of ashes, he noticed a huge round and black stone. Took it for himself, Dot. The guy saw the door and remembered that the dungeon had another master Dot. The guy hoped that he would be smaller than his friend. In the meantime, the village was in a state of chaos and panic, with many houses on fire. The adventurers wanted to flee, as the villagers could not be helped. But a one-eyed man reminded them that the girls were fighting a dragon. He and the other men headed outside the city. There they saw monsters. They were small wyverns. The men panicked as suddenly a female image appeared. Livia told them that these monsters were nothing. She cast a spell. A huge magic circle appeared above her. She said the spell and directed the flames towards the monsters. In a flash, there was almost nothing left of the monsters. The girl left, saying that the men could handle the rest of the change themselves. Determined, They rushed at the monsters. Meanwhile, at Solus's place, the girl bravely fought the dragon, but the forces were clearly not equal. Pia shouts to her from afar that all the wounded have been taken out. Solus saw that the monster was regenerating very quickly, but she just had to hold out until help arrived. When she saw Paula in the distance, she rejoiced. It meant that all the residents had been evacuated, but the girl still had a serious and long fight ahead of her. She planned to wait until dusk and retreat, so that then, together with the army and other adventurers, she could fight the monster. But suddenly, the beast turned toward Paula. It lunged at the girl and she cried out. Suddenly, Pia jumped out onto the battlefield. The girl asked why, but Pia said that she would always protect her. She fearlessly lunged at the dragon. Priscilla joined in and shot the monster right in the head. Pia hit the monster on the paw, but it threw her away, saying she was only in the way. Paula rushed to her and saw she had 2 huge wounds. The other girls fought the monster bravely, but suddenly it roared, which hurt some of them badly. Sarah saw that Solus was unconscious, but the monster turned on her and attacked her with its flames. The girl was saving Priscilla when suddenly she saw that Celica was also wounded. She wanted to run to her, but her leg hurt a lot. Paula hovered over her wounded friend. She started to recite a prayer to heal her, but her friend was telling her to run. The girl's magic wasn't working for some reason. She couldn't heal her wound. She didn't give up and believed that she could heal her friend. Pia still urged her to run away, but Paula explained that she had always protected her and she had treated her, and now she was doing the same. Pia reached out her hand to Paula and told her that she was her best friend. Paula confirmed it. The monster slowly approached the girls. Paula confessed that she and Priscilla had always been her best friends. Suddenly, the monster noticed the mage, who created a huge magic circle. The girl said the spell, and at the end added that it would burn. Solus, without strength, stabbed her blade into the paw of the monster. She said that the monster would not defeat her with her screaming alone. The monster roared in pain and wanted to use its fire attack on the girl. Solus was calm, for she had bought some time. But then, Livia finished her spell and attacked the monster with a powerful fire attack. Everything everywhere rose up and stirred. Only smoke could be seen from the battlefield. Paula stood up. She thought she had already won, but suddenly a familiar, huge figure appeared out of the smoke. The dragon was alive. The girl was distraught. She couldn't believe it. She fell to her knees and wanted to beg. Livia started to recite the spell again. Paula saw this and got motivated and started praying hard to God. She realized that it was too late, but she prayed harder and harder. Suddenly, the girl saw that someone had chopped the dragon's neck. Its head fell to the ground. She couldn't realize it. In a glimmer of light, Hikaru appeared. He asked if he had arrived on time. The girl was amazed. She didn't understand how he did it. Hikaru exhaled. He explained that when he saw the state of the village, he immediately thought of a plan of action and realized that while a black dragon could be killed through the heart, a white dragon could be disposed of by simply cutting off its head. Coming to the village, he feared he was too late, but in the distance he saw the figure of a merciless monster and Lavia bracing herself against it. Hikaru realized that it was possible to overpower the monster through the gaps in its scales, and the weapon lay at the boy's feet. He used his power and saw that there were no magical threads. Rushing towards the monster. It jumped up and was at his neck. The guy swung and cut off its head. Hikaru saw a huge, white, perfectly round crystal in the pile of ashes. But thought it best not to touch it. Livia called out to him. Hikaru was happy to see her, and also noted that she scared the guy a lot. The girl started to say her plan, but Hikaru interrupted her, turning his wounded ear to her. Livia was frightened for Hikaru, but he said that he would fix his ear, but later. Then, the girl came up and asked how things were going with the dungeon. The guy said that although it was not very smooth, but he managed. Walking up to Pol, Hikaru asked what was wrong with Pia. The girl replied that her friend was protecting her and she couldn't do anything about her wound. Paula cried, for Pia had always protected her, and she can't even help her. Hikaru fell into contemplation. He realized that his skills were enough to increase the girl's strength, but he couldn't tell anyone his secret. He realized that if the truth came out, something terrible would happen, but Paula. He knew that if he left it alone, he would regret it for a long time. He asked if Paula wanted to help Pia. Hikaru said she could help her if she agreed to keep the secret for the rest of her life, without the right to tell anyone. The guy said that he would help only if she agreed to it. The girl replied that if it could save Pia, she was ready for anything. He asked her to close her eyes, and when she opened them, her life wouldn't be the same. The guy increased her healing power to 8, even though even the doctors would have less. Hikaru raised her characteristics, which made the girl's body glow. The guy understood Lavia's feelings, but they must believe in Paula, because she wants to save her friend so much that she is ready to do anything for it. Hikaru believed in Lavia as well, because she was willing to give her life in exchange for the life of a falsely accused man. The girl healed Pia with her magic. The wounds on the girl's body had completely disappeared, and Paula was a little alarmed. The guy calmed her down, saying that the girl was just overdoing it. The girl wanted to say that even that didn't help Pia, but opening her eyes, she was surprised. The girl was completely healed. She hugged Hikaru tightly while crying. The boy asked her to let him go because he was injured too. He asked the girl not to tell anyone about it. She also offered to help him heal his wounds. He was cured completely thanks to the girl's magic. Livia went up to the guy and asked him if he was okay, and he said he was fine. But he said that even if there were problems, he didn't want to think about them so he could think more positively. Livia said she respected the guy's choice, and he added that there was one problem. Livia asked Hikaru that he was here because he had failed to defeat the dungeon master. He said that you could say that because the dungeon was guarded by a huge white dragon, and there was also a black dragon. The girl said that in that case, they would need Paula to fight him. But the guy said he had already killed him. The girl was shocked. He put a rock in her hands for proof. He said that the second problem was the dungeon master. But the guy saw that the girl wasn't listening to him and asked if she was okay. The girl asked him if she had told him to turn around and stay out of the way. The guy started to justify that he had made sure that he could defeat the dragon and that he was the only one there. It turned out that the dungeon master was not a black dragon. The girl interrupted him and called his name and hugged him, saying that she was really scared for the guy. The guy apologized for that, hugging the girl back. But she noticed that the guy was talking too easily about such fights, as if they were mundane. He noted that it was all thanks to the blade he had with him. Nevertheless, the guy identified the problem, and he said it needed a man with the patronage of the saints to solve it. Meanwhile, Sarah had managed to get to the entrance to the dungeon, but she found no one there and assumed it was probably already dead. Solus questioned the girl, meaning dead, and its master. Sarah explained that a dungeon is dead when its master has left it or is dead. Solus asked how likely it was that he had left it. Sarah noted that it was almost nil. Then, the headman said that since the dungeon was cleaned up, it would be a pleasure for them. He didn't even know how to thank his rescuers. The girl said they didn't need anything because the village was destroyed anyway. But the man was happy that the crops were intact, so they would have money. He said that the condition of the crops was more important than the houses, but the lives of the people were more important. The man said that the girls had come here for almost nothing. So he wanted to thank them. He took out a huge white orb from his bag, but Solus refused it. But he said that even if the girl who hides her identity did most of the work, Solus and her team are still brave heroines who defended the village. The girl suggested another idea. They would sell the sphere and keep one half of the money for themselves and give the other half to the village for rebuilding. She swept up the fact that that girl was fighting for the good of the village, and she would be pleased to see that her labors would not be in vain. She added that she would make sure that the money went to the right causes. The old man thanked Solus heartily. Sarah asked the commander what they were going to do next. Solus replied that they would hunt monsters for a couple more days and then head back to the capital. But Sarah noted that it would be a good idea to get some rest first. Solus said goodnight to everyone and began to ponder. She didn't understand who the girl in the robe was or where the guy going to the village had disappeared to. She was curious, but there was nothing she could do about it for now. Meanwhile, Hikaru and Livia were descending into the dungeon through a shortcut that Hikaru had found. They began to walk deeper into the dungeon, and the girl was struck by its beauty. Livia saw the mountains of ashes. It convinced her once again that Hikaru had defeated the dragon himself. The guy called the one to the door. Upon entering, they saw the reptile lying on the floor. Livia asked if it was the dungeon master. Hikaru said yes. When the man entered the room, he was trembling with fear, but he didn't talk to Hikaru but attacked him, causing Hikaru to kill him. But the guy noted that trouble awaited them ahead. He opened another door, entering it. The girl was struck by the chilling atmosphere. The guy squeezed her hand tighter. When they opened the door, they heard a voice. The unknown man said that the guy had come back quickly. The girl was frightened and asked him what it was. Turning on the flashlight, the guy said that the owner was afraid not of him, but of her. After these words, an incredibly huge dragon appeared in front of the couple. It was called the Fire Dragon. It seemed to fill the entire space. The guy remembered how he met this huge dragon. Upon entering the dungeon, the dragon said that it had been several hundred years since he had been imprisoned here. It had been so long that he was bored with these walls. The dragon was curious. He said that Hikaru was not of this world. It scared the guy. He didn't understand how the dragon had figured it out, and also assumed that the owner was scared because when he looked around, he saw him. The guy asked the dragon who had done this to him. In response, the huge lizard asked for help. He asked the guy to break those chains, and if he can, he will fulfill whatever the guy wants. But his chains can only be broken by someone whose heart has been touched by the divine blessing. Hikaru tried to touch the chain, but his hand went through it. He realized he had to consult with Lavia about this. That quote is how it was, the hero summed up. The dragon asked if he could hope for help. The guy turned to Livia. He said that by divine blessing, they probably mean the holiness points that Livia has. He also suggested that he should have asked Paula about it, since she had healing magic. But the girl interrupted him, saying it was okay. She would try it. The girl also said that she trusted the guy completely. He could use her glasses as he saw fit. He smiled at her and thanked her. The guy asked Livia to show him her divine card. On it, he saw that she had divine blessing and status as a minister. The guy asked the dragon if it would work. The dragon said it was worth a try. Hikaru also realized it was okay to try and asked his friend to do it. The girl stretched out her hands to the chains and they shone. They began to crack, and the girl noticed that it took a lot of magical power. The dragon encouraged her. Hikaru was worried about Livia and said that if she was having a hard time, she could take it easy. The dragon resented that. It made the guy angry. Suddenly, the first chain cracked. The dragon roared. He praised Livia and Hikaru, begging them to break another chain. Hikaru asked a tired Livia if she was okay. The girl said she could handle it. The dragon urged the girl on, but the guy told the guy to shut up. He told the dragon that they had no motivation at all to get him out of here. He also assumed that he was the one who scared the master, which is why the dungeon is so strange. The dragon, on the other hand, said that he wasn't trying to scare him. He had come to him on his own. And he also laughed at the fact that the master was frightened by the strange behavior of the dungeon. Judging by the dragon's good mood, the guy realized that he was fine here without freedom. The dragon, on the other hand, was scared. He gave up on those staying. He asked why they were doing this to him. The dragon said that he never tried to scare the dungeon master, and he also said that no one forced people to build settlements near their habitats. The dragon promised the guy and the girl that once he got out of here, he would destroy those monsters that harm people, and therefore protect their children as well, Livia called out to Hikaru. She said that probably as long as he was here, then the dungeon would behave in a strange way. Also, the girl believed that he would definitely not hurt anyone. The guy still agreed, but told Livia that if she didn't feel well, she shouldn't overstretch herself, because her health was more important than any rescue. The girl started to remove the shackles. After a while, the girl was taking off her fourth shackles and looked very tired. The dragon asked her to step back. She had done enough. The dragon tensed up and stood up. He broke the chains. He straightened up to his full enormous height and was glad that he had finally thrown off those shackles. He glared at the guy and then started to attack. This scared the guy and the girl. The dragon shot upwards. The head of the 4 eastern stars saw a huge pillar of light from the forest. She was astonished. This pillar struck the guard as well. At the same time, In the guild, Unken looked out the window and wondered what that light was. He realized that it was coming from the direction of the village of MANHWA. He didn't understand what was going on there. The guy and the girl still managed to escape. The guy carried the girl on his back because she lost the creature, because she read a lot of spells. The dragon at this time hovered over the forest and rejoiced in his freedom. The boy called out to him, calling him a stupid creature. He swore at the dragon, saying that was how the dragon had thanked them for saving him with a shot. The lizard laughed, saying that he didn't know that human children could die from something like that. The boy was angry at the dragon's words and asked him to calm down. The dragon said he was grateful and asked the guy's wish. Hikaru started by saying that because the dragon almost finished him off, the guy now owed the guy 2 wishes at once. The dragon said he didn't mind. The boy started thinking about what to wish for. He wanted to wish for something for Lavia, and he saw that the dragon was flying after all, so he asked for a wish related to that. After a while, Hikaru and Livia were carrying the dragon. The one asked if this ride was romantic. The guy said no and asked the one to move faster. The beast rushed faster, but then the guy asked him to slow down. It amused the monster. The guy always thought that a ride on a dragon is about unforgettable sensations, and they were really very sharp. The boy asked why he had been imprisoned in the dungeon. The dragon replied that it was not the most desirable topic of conversation for him. He said that he had simply trusted his former friend too much. The latter had talked him into going against the will of the heavens, and for that the dragon had paid the price. The boy asked about the will of the heavens, if dragons served the will of the gods. The dragon was surprised that the boy didn't know about it. The beast told the boy that since ancient times dragons have fought among themselves, there are evil and good dragons, and he was one of those who did not touch people and fought against evil dragons. The guy remembered the legend that Roland had told him, and they were similar. Then, the guy said that the dragon had been tricked by an evil dragon, and that was the reason why he was imprisoned. The dragon confirmed it. The dragon remarked that they would still have time for simple conversations, for he was his own master now. Meanwhile, in the castle, the princess was sleeping in her luxurious bed. She is awakened by the voice of a maid who calls her worriedly. The girl has no time to wake up, but an unknown force breaks her windows. The maid ran up to her and asked what it was. Suddenly, looking out the window, she saw a huge dragon, threatening people. He asked if there was anyone from the royal family. He needed to talk to them. Dragon highly doubted anyone would even come out to him, but he realized that they didn't really have much of a choice in front of him. The girl walked out onto the balcony and introduced herself to the monster. She was Kuza Storia, queen of the kingdom of Ponsonia. She asked the dragon why he had disturbed her peace. The dragon suggested that her kingdom was quite recent, since he had not heard of it before. The girl got angry and said that her kingdom had been around for 500 years. The dragon asked her not to laugh at his scales, saying that even their torches were powered by simple fire, not sacred fire. He concluded that mankind was severely underdeveloped. But he asked the girl to listen to him carefully. He ordered her to stop preparations for war. The girl was shocked. The dragon did not finish his sentence, but only shot into the sky with his unbelievably strong attack. The girl fell to the floor from surprise. At the end, he added that she should think carefully about his proposal. Otherwise, he would turn this castle into ashes. After a while, the dragon was telling the guy that he hadn't had this much fun in a long time, and asked if he had granted the guy's wish. Hikaru replied that the guy had done a great job. He's doing all of this for Livia, so that she will stop being searched for and not be drafted into the army for the coming war. Dragon snapped him out of his thoughts. He asked if that was all there was to it. The guy said no, he had another wish. The dragon was excited. He didn't know what else the guy would ask of him. The guy asked if the dragon's scales would make a good weapon. He replied that he probably did, but it would be hard to do because the scales were too hard. Finally, the boy asked the dragon what sacred magic was. The dragon replied that it was a magic that was only available to the dragon family. The dragon suggested that probably no one remembered anything about it anymore, and that this art was lost. The boy was surprised that even a dragon knew about it, but not him. But Kama dragons had inhabited this land for many years, and it was likely that something had been lost, particularly because of the war. After a while, they were already in the forest. The guy was wondering what else he could wish for himself from the dragon. The dragon said he could take hairs from his fur. They would increase his damage and give him some holy magic. The boy reluctantly agreed to it, to which the dragon laughed. Hikaru plucked a hair from the dragon's fur and jumped off with Livia. The dragon took off. Hikaru asked the one what he would do next. The one replied that he would fly back to his home. But before doing so, the beast asked Hikaru's name. The one introduced himself. The dragon said goodbye to Hikaru, saying that they would definitely meet again, and also adding that there are often creatures not of their world in their world, and they are amazing. Hikaru was no exception. The boy said that the dragon had led him around by the nose until the end, calling the dragon a strange type. Suddenly, Livia woke up. She told the boy that she had had a strange dream. In this dream, they were flying a dragon across the night sky. The boy smiled and asked if the girl could walk, because it was time for them to go back to the village. The girl said she could. The guy said they would have a lot to talk about, and there would be plenty of topics for them to discuss. But first, they needed to get back to the village. The next day in Ponsonia. Kroll repeated the words about the fire dragon, and then said that Kusastoria is taking too much on herself, doesn't she think? The other man explained to the girl that because she was dialoguing with the monster had a lot of self-importance. The king thumped his chair and asked her not to mention it, because it was not good. The man apologized to the king. Other men expressed their condolences to the king and suggested that the girl just wanted to draw attention to herself. Rollins entered the dialogue. He said that he had to decide what to do with the dragon if it came back. He apologized to the princess and asked her to leave because he needed to hold a meeting regarding defense. The girl bowed and thanked the knight. Walking down the corridors, the girl thought that if she disobeyed the dragon, the palace would be burned. The girl realized that her father would not listen to him. Even the aristocracy will not defend the king, and what will happen when the dragon's demands are known in the streets? The girl realized that the country will plunge into chaos. 10 days after the dragon invasion. Pond, Adventurers Guild. Freya said hello to the girls. She was glad everything had ended well, but the girls were depressed. Freya asked Pia what was wrong. Suddenly, all three girls bowed and apologized. The receptionist didn't understand why they were apologizing. Pia explained that they had gotten it into their heads that the guild members didn't care about Manurk's fate, even though they were worried. That was why they were apologizing. Freya stopped it. She asked not to apologize. Pia also noted that they wanted to apologize to Unken as well, but he wasn't here right now. Freya said that it was because of the fire dragon incident. He was sent to the capital guild. Pia also added that she and the other girls were going to leave the guild. Freya was surprised by this, as the girls were doing a great job. Pia answered that now they wanted to work harder for the village and for its reconstruction, which is why they should go back, as the village was short of workers. Freya asked Paula what she was going to do, and she said that she would do something different from her friends, which shocked them. Meanwhile, the 4 eastern stars were moving toward the capital. Sarah said they hadn't seen the capital's streets in a long time, and the captain suggested that all the fuss was about the dragon. Sarah had said that the nobles were very worried. Not to mention the commoners. Solus also wondered if this very dragon was connected to the light she had seen, but she supposed probably not. The dark-haired girl spoke enthusiastically that it was the first time she had ever seen such a huge dragon. She assumed it was many times stronger than that white one. Sarah noted that she knew immediately that it was strong. After the girl asked where the unknown girl was, Solus realized that she was the one who had finished the dragon, which meant she was entitled to a reward. The blonde also remembered Hikaru, who had disappeared. Sarah wondered if he'd even made it to Manurk, to which her friend said he was probably just a vagrant. He'd hardly seen that sorceress. The dark-haired girl pointed out that he'd be a great companion for Sarah, and she asked him not to attribute her friends to her. Sarah summed up that the child and the girl were clearly unrelated. Solus gave the floor to Shufi, who said that Mr. Dragon was clearly a servant of the gods. In principle, they always have been, but sometimes they bare their fangs at people. Solus suggested that it was probably because of people. After all, the king had literally abandoned Manurk, so the dragon was angry with him. Solus was asked if she thought that it was the dragon that had killed the monsters in the dungeon. Then, she asked Sarah the same question. The girl thought otherwise. She saw that the gems had been picked up, and the dragon would hardly need them. Then, the girls assumed that some unknown person had gone through the dungeon and released the dragon outside. However, Solus had noticed that they clearly didn't know the real situation. Perhaps it was indeed a dragon, or perhaps it was a group of adventurers, but there were few facts to support it. Solus asked Shufi what about the second case. Shufi was worried about Pola's abilities. After all, Pia should have died from blood loss. But she is alive, which both pleased and surprised her. Solus asked if it was Shufi who had healed her. The girl answered positively, but he had only patched her up a little, nothing more. Sarah suggested that the girl might have a sudden talent. The black-haired girl replied that it was impossible. Shufi summarized that she would talk to the girl the next time she had the chance, and Solus summed up that although they still had questions, they would find answers to them during the journey, but now they had to hurry up. Meanwhile, in Ponda, Livia and Hikaru were sitting in an expensive hotel, relaxing. Hikaru noticed that their standard of living had increased noticeably, all thanks to the stones. The man asked Hikaru where he got such a stone from, where he had stolen it. Hikaru replied that he had only fought huge monsters. Hikaru told the man that he would love to sell it to him, but since he didn't want it, he was leaving. The man asked him not to leave and not to take it. Then, Hikaru asked him how much he wanted to buy it. The man said, 5 million. Hikaru was satisfied and sold him the black diamond. He could have sold it at an auction, but he didn't want to attract attention. Hikaru and Livia realized that it was Paula, who came into the room and asked if she could be with him and Livia. He asked her if she had finished her business, and she said yes, although she was sad to part with her friends. But Hikaru had saved her, so she wanted to devote herself to him. The guy agreed and invited the girl inside. She thanked him. There's a new addition to the squad. After a while, an inn in the city of Lizurk. The royal knights entered the building. They exclaimed that they found her and grabbed the unknown hooded girl. She lashed out, screaming that she had done nothing, but her arrest was by order of the king himself. After a while in Pondot, Freya asked if there was a rebellion in the royal palace, if it was normal. But Unken argued that in a normal situation, it was not normal at all. The girl asked why the situation was unusual this time, to which the man replied that it was unusual because adventurers are grabbed without reason. The king had a different attitude towards the guild itself. What that meant, Freya didn't understand. Unken went on to say that a dragon had appeared in the sky above the capital and claimed His Majesty's abdication, a very strange demand, which meant that someone had instructed him to do so. These words shocked Freya. She didn't believe that someone could control a dragon. Unken confirmed it, because the dragon would not get involved in the politics of the country by its own will. Someone was behind it. Then, the girl suggested that at this rate, the dragon man could have gotten rid of the whole country long ago. Unken asked if that was what the girl wanted, to which she said of course not. Unken noticed that in any case, a person controlling a dragon was very strange and unusual. He didn't recall any other person who would be capable of it. The old man suggested that the king would use such information to deal with the disgruntled ones. Freya, however, asked that the old man was referring to the detained adventurers of rank C. Unken confirmed it. The man was nervous, saying that at this rate the sun would set before they got to the castle. The man decided to walk. The other stopped him, calling him the Margrave. He claimed that he would be laughed at by the other earls if he walked. He also asked him to wear at least a robe. The man replied that it was worth laughing at those who were willing to wait so long when they could just walk. The man tried to dissuade the Duke, but Lawrence had already greeted him. Lawrence said hello to the Duke. He laughed and said that he would always come to his aid in case of danger. Then he asked Lawrence if he would continue to follow him. The man didn't understand what he was saying, but the Margrave said that if he went everywhere with him, others would think he was from his faction. The man said that he didn't care what others thought, because he was his best teacher. Afterward, the Margrave asked to tell him about the Knight's Passage. The latter realized that the report he had heard had been altered, so he wanted to hear the real story. Roland said that the dragon was floating in the sky, just like in the sky dot. Then, the man asked what would happen in the direct fight, whether he would win. Roland said that he would strike one blow, and after that he would be dead for sure. The man remembered the magical sword that could overcome fire, but Roland explained that it had been given to the adventurers. The man asked about the mages. Roland said they need to chant spells, and they wouldn't do well in a long fight, but that option would be better than swinging swords. So the king is also thinking about creating a magical barrier. The count asked if he could protect more than just the castle. But Roland remarked that the reflective strike would be directed specifically at the capital. The man began to shout that the king must protect the citizens. How could he do such a thing? Roland asked the count not to shout about it, but the count didn't care. He was going to tell the king directly. But before he did, he suggested that the count go to the king's daughter's house. He agreed, saying that this would work too. The men realized that a new king would be needed after the abdication, but who that would be was unknown. Meanwhile, Hikaru, Livia, and Paula had been resting in their room for the past day. Paula asked the guy if they spent every day like this, or if it was a need for rest. The guy confirmed that he was really tired lately and needed to rest. Then, he said it was time to get down to business. He took out the masks and asked Paula which one she would choose, the one with stars or the one with flowers. She recognized these masks as the ones that Hikaru uses to hide his identity. Then, Livia broke into their dialogue. She chose the mask with stars, which means Paula will get the mask with flowers. Now, Hikaru explained that in case of anything, the girls would have to wear them. Just like him. Paula thanked those for their trust, but she would like a star mask too. Hikaru was glad that the girls were getting along. The boy decided to leave them alone and took his hooded cloak and went to gather information. Hikaru, along with Freya, were sitting at a table drinking coffee. The girl shared that she was very worried about him. She asked him to explain where he had been, saying that he had never made it to Minerka. The girl said that it was a good thing because Hikaru was too low ranked. She also said that the people were lucky because the 4 Eastern Stars had arrived. The girl said that they were highly respected by the J aristocrats, and that this time, they were honored with a feast in honor of their victory over the dragon, and half of their bounty was donated to Minerka. The boy said they did a good job, but the girl said that because of the dragon's arrival in the capital, everyone is very tense. The boy asked if the king would be replaced. The girl said probably not. She also said that there was an investigation going on to protect the capital from the monster. The guy asked if it was possible. The girl said that most likely not. He asked the girl that she obviously didn't like what was going on. She pointed out that she didn't at all. And said that she didn't know if it was okay to say that, and went on to say that a protest had started in the castle. The girl doesn't know much about it. However, an unknown girl named Juliet has been arrested, and she is from the dragon people.